more Pacific, an ABC Sport production for ABC Radio Australia.
This program has been funded by the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade.
The Australian goldfields were a tough place for women. But for these two sisters...
This is a bloke's toilet.
Well, your objection has been noted.
It's a wealth of opportunity.
So what's the plan?
Well, we're going to find rich, dumb husbands.
Preferably old, so they die soon.
If they can escape their past.
Thomas, it's me.
You are mistaken. I am from Paris.
New ABC comedy, Gold Diggers.
Eureka! Just kidding.
Starts Wednesday, July 5 on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
ABC Sport Digital Radio, your home of AFL.
ABC News, good evening, I'm Melissa Polomini. The Andrews government has softened its controversial school tax plan, saying it's an important step for fairness. This year's state budget outlined plans to remove payroll tax exemption for Victoria's top 110 fee-paying schools. But after a significant backlash, Labor backtracked this afternoon, announcing its list of schools has been cut to 60, with fees of more than $15,000 a year. Treasurer Tim Pallas says it's not a back down.
Money moves around quickly and we have to be adept to that. At the time that we set the budget, we had to pick a number, an expectation. We also said we'd consult with the sector about the appropriate level under which the rate was set.
Michelle Green from Independent Schools Victoria says the backdown is not a victory because dozens of independent schools will still be paying a tax they've never paid before.
That will have to come from parents. The average impact per student will be about $1,150. I think this will be known as the Andrews Pallas levy, and I think parents are going to be pretty annoyed about it.
Victoria's former Deputy Premier James Molino has been named chair of the Suburban Rail Loop Authority amid ongoing concerns around cost blowouts. Mr Molino left politics at last year's state election after 2 decades in Parliament. The move comes weeks after former Andrews government ministers Martin Foley and Lisa Neville were appointed to lead 2 Victorian hospital boards. The Premier has released details on his trip to China earlier this year, revealing the 4-day visit cost just over $80,000. Daniel Andrews was the first Australian leader to visit China since the onset of the pandemic. He was strongly criticised for failing to invite any media. His report released today shows just over $60,000 was spent on airfares for the visit. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has defended his government's efforts to progress Victoria's multi-billion-dollar electricity transmission project. Angry farmers today gatecrashed an event in Horsham, attended by Mr Albanese, demanding an inquiry into the VNI West project in the state's northwest, which would involve the construction of power lines through farming land. A cordon of police blocked the farmers. Mr Albanese says the former Morrison government gave the green light to the plan.
Angus Taylor, when he was the Energy Minister, was boasting about this. What we've done as a government, in conjunction with the Victorian government, is make sure that we give substantial consultation.
Former New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian has defended her legacy in the face of damning corruption findings made against her by the Independent Commission Against Corruption. Amy Greenbank has more.
The former New South Wales Premier has issued a short 2-line statement declaring she always worked her hardest in the public interest and that nothing in the report demonstrated otherwise. She did not reveal if she intends to appeal the ICAC's findings, but said her legal team is examining them. The report found Ms Berejiklian had engaged in serious corrupt conduct over her involvement in the awarding of 2 multi-million-dollar grants to projects in Daryl Maguire's electorate without disclosing their relationship. It also found she had suspected he might be corrupt and did not alert the watchdog, but fell short of referring her to the Director of Public Prosecutions for potential criminal charges.
Now to sport. Richmond has been dealt a blow ahead of its clash against the Lions at the Gabba, with Dustin Martin set to miss tonight's match. The club says the 32-year-old has flu-like symptoms. The Tigers have won their last 3 matches under caretaker coach Andrew McQualter. Brisbane remains a game clear of Melbourne in 3rd spot on the ladder. To the weather now. There's a gale or strong wind warning for all coastal waters. For the state tomorrow, cloudy with isolated showers more frequent about southern and mountain districts. Showers falling as snow above 1,400 metres, mostly dry over the northwest. For Melbourne, a shower or two tomorrow, a top of 15. Saturday, showers 14. Sunday, cloudy 14. Monday, partly cloudy, also 14. A few showers on Tuesday and 14. It's currently 12 degrees. ABC News.
There's so much joy and laughter with these dogs.
Oh, he loves you.
Comedian Joel Creasy is swapping punchlines for puppies on a heartfelt mission to rescue dogs from pounds and match them with humans in need.
She saved me as well. We've saved each other.
With some unexpected results.
I really hope we can rehome some of these lovely dogs. If not, Mum and Dad are getting them also.
New Leash on Life starts Tuesday, July 4 on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
ABC Sport.
We begin this broadcast by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which this match will be played today and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening.
AFL.
What a stage. This game is coming to life.
The 2023 AFL Premiership season.
The roar will tell you the story. Fans are on their feet.
This game is electric.
Holds his arms out wide and tells them to get excited. Oh, the home fans like that. What a game. It's got everything. On the run. It's happening again. It's a whole new game.
Cause here it comes, here it comes.
One bounce at 60, one bounce at 40, one bounce at 20, and he goes. He plays on from 52 out. The package bangs it through.
Something big is coming, something big is coming.
On the left boot, he's welcome to the big time moment.
Something big is coming, something big is coming.
Turn steady, go.
Something big is
The
coming.
2023 AFL Premiership season.
Durham to win it. Goal.
Fill your lungs, are you ready for it?
Gets onto it, and away it goes.
Tapped it twice with his left hand, gathered in the right forward pocket. That is brilliant.
Here they come. That's class. Oh, he's a star. What a game. Brilliant. He goes.
This kid is going places.
Hand pass to Sarong. Sarong pulls the trigger. Boom.
Rioli with some magic. The check side finish. He seizes the moment. Curls it around. What about that?
Hand pass to Elliott. Back to Hill. Superb finish.
55 out. He's given this plenty. That's a magnificent strike of the football.
He dribbles it along the ground for an incredible goal.
Grimes goes long. High altitude fly from Shaybolt.
Snap from 35, and boy does he love it.
Good by Humphrey. Here's Humphrey to put the Suns 8 points clear.
To take the lead. It never looked like missing.
Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, Sport Digital, and now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app. Just look for the AFL button.
Something big is coming, I know.
The bye rounds are over. The race to September picks up a gear. Round 16 of the AFL 2023 season starts at the Gabba in Brisbane as the Lions and the Tigers meet again in this period of their history where they've provided us with some really entertaining football. It's a gorgeous night. Welcome to the Queensland capital, Quentin Hull and the team in place for the start of this round 16. Lions v Tigers, but no Dusty. The news coming through in the last couple of hours that the Richmond champ is out with flu-like symptoms. So that's a major blow for the Tigers, who are experiencing this mini renaissance. They've been good with Andrew McQualter taking over. They've won their last 3 games, 6.5 wins for the season. A bye last week, but no Martin tonight, along with Dion Prestia out for a couple of weeks with a calf injury. Morris Rioli Jr. has been omitted. Jacob Hopper coming into the team. Marlon Pickett, who's had his troubles off the field of recent times, he's back into the team. And Noah Cumberland is the man that comes into Richmond's side for the omission of Dustin Martin. While for the Brisbane Lions, well, they can still leave out former captain Dane Zorko. Only a couple of changes at selection with Cal Archie coming in for Kai Lohmann. And Brisbane, having lost back-to-back either side of the bye to Adelaide and Hawthorn, they've had back-to-back wins over Sydney and St Kilda to be third. 2 games outside the top 2, which seems to be a story within a story of this Brisbane season, who are seemingly impenetrable at home, but still, in the eyes of many, are vulnerable away from home. You're a part of the broadcast throughout the weekend. We'd love to hear from you. The way to get in touch is 0437 774 774. That's the SMS line. Please include your name and where you're texting from. 0437 774 774. Huge night of sport across the national broadcaster, with Australia to resume in the Lord's Test. Day 2 at 5 for 339. Steve Smith, 15 away from another century. He's 85 not out, and Alex Carey's unbeaten on 11. The ABC Listen app and the red cricket button is where you can hear all of that. Many of you going to that after the footy, and we'll keep you up to date here as well. Sharks playing the Dragons in the NRL. There is heaps about, and we are right across it. But focusing in on these two teams that played in a cracking elimination final last time they met. It was here. The controversial goal, was it a point? No, it was a point from Tom Lynch. And the Lions got home by 2 points, but Tom Lynch is among a couple of the Tigers' big names who aren't out there tonight. Your experts, former Port Adelaide coach and captain, a man who knows what it's like to get a bounce out of being appointed coach mid-season, Matt Primus, and the former club champ and 200-plus gamer for the D's and Dockers, Jeff White. I'll be calling with Michael Price, Zane Bojak's down on the boundary. Gentlemen, welcome. Matty, how are you?
Oh, I'm very well, Q. Looking forward to Thursday night footy and 2 teams. One that's desperate to keep themselves in the top 4 and one that's scratching and clawing their way back into the top 8 relevance.
Well, you've been there. I'll ask you in a moment. Are you a believer of the mid-season change of coach bounce? How are you, Jeff? Where are you? Are you starting ruck or are you resting forward? How are the 2 big men playing it tonight?
Oh, I'm not too sure, Q.
Why did you? He's starting. I'm a sub.
Yeah, we've got the 2 tallest radio commenters here. But, looking forward to this matchup. And, yeah, you come up with and you'll bring the stat up with with coming off the bye. I think that's been relevant so far over the last few weeks where they've had the split bye. And you brought up a good stat, which I'm no doubt you'll bring up. But, yeah, it's a big one here for Richmond. I'm really a bit of a smoky. I think I'm going to go with the Tigers tonight, but Brisbane are definitely a lot stronger when they're playing the Gabba.
Well, the simple number is that if you're coming off the bye and playing a team that played last week, you can't beat them through 7 instalments this season. Make it 8 instalments. There are 6 occurrences during round 16 because 6 teams had a week off last week, and those that played, for example, Brisbane played against St Kilda and had a win, and Richmond had the week off. So yeah, that's part of the narrative of tonight, or is it just coincidence?
Well, I think it goes back over the last couple of years, I reckon. The bye's been really hard for sides. I think it's, especially if you win 2 or 3 leading into the bye, it's I don't know, it's a bit of a momentum killer, I reckon. And I don't know. It's there is talk about what they're going to do in the future, next year, all that sort of stuff. The split round, I don't know. I don't know if I'm a fan of it, but you know, it's they've been trialling for a while now. But it certainly has. When you brought that stat up before, Q, I was like, wow, that's huge. You know, going against sides that have played the previous week, you've come off a bye. It's 7-zip.
8-zip, yeah.
8-zip. There you go.
Yeah, they were
huge.
2 occurrences in round 13, 2 in round 14 and 4 last week. Michael Price is next to me, casting his eye across the 2 teams, warming up. How are you, Pricey?
Very well, thanks, Q. Looking forward to this one. I think we've got a cracker in front of us tonight, potentially. I don't like putting a moz on it, but the way Richmond went about their business after they were shell-shocked early by St Kilda pre-bye, I actually admired the way they were playing that surge football, that they were previously famous for, and they were delivering. And I suppose that's the mini McQualter effect from being under Hardwick. But I like the way they went about it. They could surprise Brisbane tonight. I'm kind of in Jeff's court, but Brisbane love their home deck, and after being away for a couple of weeks, they'd love it.
Zane Bojack down on the boundary, a time of year where the southeast part of the continent is bracing for more rain and absolutely shivering. How are conditions in the Sunshine State?
Oh, it's absolutely superb, Q. If you're a Richmond fan and you might have travelled north, you'd be thinking, how good is this? It's 16 degrees, a little bit of a breeze, but to be honest with you, I just describe it as crisp. I haven't even pulled out my travel blanket yet, Q, because you know that I'm a shorts wearer from way back, but I thought, no, I won't use it just yet. It's going to be a cracking game. Look, it is a shame that we don't have Dusty out there tonight, but 3 in a row, the Tigers, they are coming strong. We know what Tim Taranto's been doing. Prestia out, well, that's not so good for them either. But look, I tell you what, they love the rivalry with the Lions, and of course they won a grand final on this pitch, and they almost won the elimination final last year. They come here not holding any fears against this Brisbane Lions team who haven't lost at home already this season.
Yeah, 14 of the 23 that played on grand final night 2020 are here, so there's still a good chunk. Yep. Matt, mid-season bounce for coaches. It's been spoken about what Andrew McQualter has been able to do so far, but you're in those shoes. What's the dynamics of it? Well, what was your experience when you were thrown in as Port coach?
Well, there's not a huge amount you can do. You might have a couple of plays you want to try out, and there's also sometimes there can be a bit of a message come from higher above about, hey, we want to have a look at our list or whatever it is, and sometimes there's not. But I think what it does, and hence why I think last week when I was calling with you, Q, the bounce back in the NRL when who was it? Was it the NRL?
The Gold Coast Titans.
The Gold Coast Titans
sacked their coach and won the game.
The pressure release, if it's been building, especially at Richmond, a big club, and they hadn't been going well, Dimmer steps aside, the pressure that releases is huge. And then there's no coincidence that a bit of their playing forms come back really good. McQualter's got them playing the same brand of footy. He might have changed a few positional changes, but it's more the pressure release of the papers every week, win-loss, Hardwick under the pump, he's grumpy, that goes away. And now the freedom of just going out and playing, which Richmond had lost in the first 5 or 6 weeks. So it's more, you make it pretty simple, you try a few different things, but for the players, it's to a large extent, I would think it's a fresh voice, something different, and the anxiety and pressure's taken away. But that'll build now, because now we're on the run home to the finals, and this club will be under the pump again.
I really like what McQualter's done too, where, in the first couple of weeks he brought Dusty back in the middle, he brought Cochin back in the middle, and just used up that time. And I mean, there's no disrespect to Dimmer, but I think he just basically, I reckon he would have just gone around each player and said, hey, you might be out of a bit of form, what's your best position? He's been there for a while now, and rejuvenated the side, and they're playing that form. They start off really slow against the Saints, but this is what Brisbane's going to be aware of. If they get off to a good start tonight, they're not out of it, the Tigers. They'll claw their way back, pardon the punt, but that's what they did against St Kilda. They came back, and you saw the conditions, pouring down rain, and that's when they turned it on. So they showed that below the knees, when they're firing up, when they're sharp and they're clean below their knees, Richmond can tear sides apart.
Well, that's what he's got going. Their handball game and their knock on and surge it forward, that's been the best in the comp the last 4 weeks. Their handballs, their metres gained, and they're scoring at will when they're going inside 50, which has changed. I think they were last, and now they're first the last 4 or 5 weeks. So he's got that going.
And the thing that I mentioned about a lot of these players played on grand final day at this venue in 2020 means that a lot of them have been to the mountain.
Yep.
And to the top of it a couple of times. So there's that continued question. Okay, there's the bounce back from the change of coach, but you've got a Brisbane Lions team that has been top 4 the last couple of years, yet to get to a grand final. How much do we take hunger into account when we get to this part of the season, when emotional and physical energy starts to get tested?
Well, I remember in 2020 was the COVID time. We were commentating at Metro Heritage Bank, and
Carrara, always Carrara in the ABC, Jeff.
And we commented on that game when Richmond played. I don't know who they played that night, but below their knees were so clean. And we went, hang on a minute, they've just dominated. They're so clean, and they obviously went on and won the premiership. That's the signs I saw the other week when they played St Kilda, especially in the wet. So if they're sharp and they're clean below their knees and they get their handball going, they're zigzag and they're hitting their outside, Brisbane's got to have a tough night.
You're right, though, the intangible of the hunger. You don't know that. I'm sure Richmond had a great pre-season, but they didn't know the hunger of all those guys to want to go back again for the fourth time in 5 years. And same as Geelong. They've had some injuries, but also you don't know that hunger until games start and the season starts and you go, well, we're off, or we need to do something about it and change the personnel.
And obviously the chances are running out for Richmond, but the squeeze either side of the 8... generally, we get to this point of the season and you could maybe say, one, maybe 2 teams inside of the 8 at the moment are vulnerable. Without blowing it up or trying to be sensational about it, it wouldn't surprise me if we saw 3 changes by the time we got to September from here.
It's usually,
and we could never usually say that because of the squeeze in the middle of the competition.
And you're right, Q. It's always a bit of a pull away this time of year because sides can't make it. But Zane Bojack, who's on a Bandurrider tonight, he actually showed me and it could come down to their last game against Port Adelaide over in Adelaide, because their run home, the Tigers, is mainly at the MCG after this game tonight.
Yeah, and Brisbane, just repeating, have Darcy Ford as the sub, so they've got the big man on the bench, which has been a bit of a talking point earlier in the season. And if you have just joined us, no Dustin Martin, Noah Cumberland comes into the team, and Hugo Ralph-Smith is the sub for Richmond. Hello to Ange and a few others who are texting in. Barb from Perth, from Jack, who are listening. 0437 774 774, the SMS number to get in touch. Let's play round 16. Michael Price.
Nankervis versus McInerney. Nankervis won the toss. Richmond kicking to the left as I'm looking at it. McInerney with the clearance. Toes it towards half forward. The ball spills. McCarthy toes it off the deck. Exploding onto it. Bailey. He brushes off his opponent. Runs in from 30 and sprays it to the left. Golden opportunity to start the game, blown in the first 20 seconds, but the Lions get the first behind.
Kicking to the right of your radio dial. Expected around 31,000 fans tonight. And
Cameron came flying in off the line in the centre bounce and caught one high chest in the throat and stayed down for a couple of minutes, or it might have been a bit of the head with Cochin.
He's being ushered from the ground. Zane Bojack, hope you're on your toes early. What's happening with Charles?
Yeah, it's no country roads, and we could have no Charlie Cameron because he's got blood coming from his mouth at the moment. I think he'd have to go off for an assessment, but we'll wait and see. But yeah, he's not in a good way. He's definitely got blood coming out of that mouth. Up looks like up near the top of his teeth. And we're just watching a replay. It didn't look too good.
There's a head clash with Cochin. So the blind turn
face to face, literally.
Both weren't looking at. They were looking the ball, not at each other, and ran into each other.
Yeah.
So no foul play from the look of the first replay, but Charlie Cameron's feeling for his mouth and is going immediately up the race. I wonder if there's some teeth issues there.
I don't reckon he wears mouth guard.
If it's not a jaw issue anyway. Floston restarts the game. Brisbane with an early point. Kick to right half back row by Bolton. Hand pass to Cochin for the Tigers. Hands it to the wing. Met by Revolt. Tackled by Payne and dispossessed. Ball spills free. Taranto has it for Richmond on the wing. Hand pass looking for Bolton. Couldn't pick it up. Dunkley does for the Tigers. Hands it to McCluggage. He's tackled. Got rid of it with a hand pass back to Dunkley. High kick towards the half forward line. Rayner's underneath it. Can't mark. Roving is Robertson for Brisbane. He's tackled and holding the ball. McIntosh with the clamp to win the free kick for the Tigers, defensive side of the wing.
That was a great tackle from Camden McIntosh. He goes laterally over to Dylan Grimes, centre half back. Over to the commentary wing now. It's a beautifully delivered kick to Jack Ross. He goes another 30 metres forward to Rioli. Dan, just in front of McCarthy on the mark. Brisbane with just about every player on the paddock forward of centre. A kick that only goes 8 metres laterally to Grimes, then back into the middle, into the corridor to Tyler Young. They've held up here, Q, and Brisbane in a web of defence.
Young just drives it as deep as he can. A 65-metre drop punt to fall forward. Big pack, no mark. Ross first to arrive for Richmond. Can't pick up off the deck. Picked up by Wilmot of Brisbane. Desperate hand pass to try and clear the congestion. Gets it to defensive 50. McKenna kicks it off the ground for Brisbane and it rolls out of play. Boundary throw in left half forward for Richmond. They're attacking the left of your radio dial, the East Brisbane school end, the veranda end.
It was a powerful kick from Young Q, as you called it. He launched into that off 2 steps.
Massive leg from the young man. Made an impression as a defender early in his career. The throw in right across the arc of 50. Nankervis gets it down to ground level. It's picked up by Dunkley. Nice kick to the wing, and Danaher wins out in front of Bolter. Used his body, but Danaher judged it better in the air. Short of centre wing. 15-metre kick to the logo, finds McCluggage. Once again, the Tigers spread in that web of defence, and McCluggage with not a lot of options that are unmarked. He kicks long towards right half forward. Hipwood in front, and a big fist forward came from the Tigers into the arms of Bolton. He let go the ball, picked up by Dunkley. He kicks it inside 50. Big chance there for Rayner behind, but it was roved by Baker, and a free kick on play will go to the Tigers anyway, so it will go to Camden McIntosh.
Rayner over the shoulder with his spoil on the veteran Camden McIntosh, is forward to full back. 1 point early to Brisbane, but Charlie Cameron off the ground after an accidental head knock with Trent Cotchin. Kick to left half back, marked by Ross. Plays on with a hand pass to Broad. Hands it to the wing for Bolton. Hands it to Ross. They run at the members' wing. Hand pass to Graham, 70 out. Driving kick to the pockets of Beauty, and Revolt takes... No, it's Cumberland. Cumberland, the late in, takes the mark in the left forward pocket.
He's from Queensland.
Yes, know this ground, having played NEFL footy for the Lions Academy here. Noah Cumberland. The late in... Good sticky fingers as well.
Beautiful kick from Graham.
Nice movement from the Tigers. Tough angle for the man from Maroochydore. Left foot kick is across the face of everything. And out of bounds on the full. Free kick to Brisbane in the left back pocket. 5 minutes played. The Lions a point. Richmond yet to score.
You can see that Tigers handball game up and early. A lot of forward handballs releasing guys into space.
So Harris Andrews brings the ball back in. It's a long kick towards halfback. Bolter gets involved and wins the ball for the Tigers. Through hands, it's going to land with Pickett on the boundary. Tackled there by Andrews. Got a handball away. He's taken over the boundary line, only 15 metres from the sticks, and we will get a throw in the right forward pocket for the Tigers. They're pressing.
And that numbers too. They're getting more numbers at the ball than Brisbane, so they're able to get that handball chain going.
Throw in with the Tigers in attack. Nankervis to the front of the tap, no rover. Now diving over it is Revolt. It's tackled. Jack will get up and give it to the ump, who's called for a ball up. Left back pocket for Brisbane. Right forward pocket for Richmond. McInerney fists at 20 metres clear of the congestion for Brisbane to left half back. Robertson tackled and dispossessed. Play on, says the umpire. No, they're going to come back. No, they're not. Taranto kicked it forward. I thought they were going to stop the advantage for a holding the ball free kick up. Lets them go. Ball inside 50. Wilmot's tackled by Baker, and another stoppage with the Tigers in attack.
Umpire throws it up quickly. And then Nankervis gets up high, takes the ball out of the ruck contest, and then proceeds to kick it over the boundary line out of bounds on the full. Good idea, just not executed, and it will be a free kick in the back pocket. It'll go to the Lions veteran in Ryan Lester. No, he's thrown... What's he done there?
I'm just thinking...
They've thrown a fake ball back in and kept the real ball, so he's had to throw the fake ball back into the crowd and gather the real Sharon.
Good awareness.
Yes, very good. Well, the other one was plastic, Whitey. Oh, dear. You see it all at the Gabba as Lester comes right across the field and hits Harris Andrews just inside the arc. His 10-metre kick is awarded the distance, and it goes to Jared Berry just outside the arc.
Just having a look at the Brisbane bench, no movement whatsoever from Darcy Fort, who's sitting in the back blocks there. Not quite the like-for-like replacement if Charlie Cameron's issues can't be resolved.
It'd have to be a concussion protocol too, would there? Go through that?
Yeah, I think so. Chip around the boundary line. McCluggage marks, kicks in field. McKenna marks. Brisbane transfer to the centre of the ground. McKenna's kick to a 50-50. One on the deck by Dunkley. Hand pass defensively, picked up by Starcevic. Hands it to Wilmot. Accosted by Pickett. Great tackle. Oh, high tackle from Pickett. Gee, hit him hard. But Wilmot gets the free kick for Brisbane. Conservative chip def. Robertson takes the grab. Too far out between the bullseye and centre half forward. Called to play on. Kicks Brisbane into attack. And a big pack in the pocket. Rayner the fly. Broad the spoil. Roving Hipwood. Kick from the pocket to dribbler. Near side. And to behind. Brisbane's second minor score. 2 points to nothing. The Lions lead it through 7.5 minutes.
So only the 4 inside 50s to Richmond to 3. Between the arcs so far. Nathan Broad plays on from full-back, kicks long towards half-back. It's over the hands of everybody. It's out of bounds on the full. In fact, it's going to be a free kick to Brisbane. So that'll go to Brendan Starcevic at, 70 to 80 metres from goal. Right against the boundary line at left half forward. Kicks to a pack. Hipwood came flying out of it, no whistle on play. Nankervis fists it forward, roved by Dev Robertson. He toes it towards the goal square. It bounces in front of Hipwood. Oh, awkward bounce for the Tigers. Picked up by Connor McKenna on the boundary. Hooks it back towards the top of the square, and that's fisted through from the top of the square by Vlosten for a behind. Very defensive action, but that's the percentages. 3 behinds to the Lions, nothing to the Tigers. 8.5 gone first term.
Beyond the goal square there, gentlemen.
Very risky. Brisbane Lions a couple of metres off him. I wouldn't have been surprised the umpire did deliberate there, but he chose to give him the benefit of the doubt.
3 points to Brisbane. Richmond yet to score. Floston runs to the pocket, kicks the half back. Cumberland the target. Spoiled by Starcevic. Rode by Fletcher of Brisbane. Kicks the Lions back into full forward.
Great grab.
But it is a great grab. Floston getting underneath what was a bit of a bomb in the end, Whitey. Takes a chest mark just forward to fullback. Kicks to the middle of the ground. 1-on-1. Cumberland nudges Dunkley away from the ball illegally. Free kick to Josh Dunkley of Brisbane. Plays on with a hand pass to Coleman. He'll pump Brisbane back to full forward. Right down the corridor. McCarthy leaps, can't mark in the goal mouth. Broad steals it from him. He claims the mark. Called to play on. Got tackled. Hand passes to the pocket. Floston picks up for the Tigers. Chip pass to left half back meets Cochin.
And Cochin chips forward. They move it quickly again, the Tigers. They're keen to do this. Gets into Hopper now. He's stationary, as is everybody in front of him, I might add, in a web. Long kick down the wing. Harris Andrews favoured by that kick, and Cumberland had no hope. Held out of the contest, and Harris Andrews takes yet another intercept mark for his career. He chips another 15 metres forward to Jared Berry. He's right on the logo commentary side. It's a fairly staid opening. 10 minutes gone of the first term. The Lions 3 behinds, and the Tigers yet to score. Long kick. Oh, what a mark. Cam Rayner not paid. Oh, it was juggled. It was a flying specky on the arc of 50. It's roved by Neal. Kick towards the goal square. Danaher grabs it out of midair. It wasn't a mark, but he threw it onto his left boot. And it was a great snap from the goal square. Almost mark of the year. And Danaher tried to follow suit. But we got the first goal on the board. The Lions 1-3-9. The Tigers yet to score. 10.5 gone in the first term.
That's a bit of a shame there for Rayno. He got up over Hopper, but he dropped it when he fell on his back.
Yeah, he hit the ground hard, didn't he?
Oh. But just the Lions been able to, in their forward half of the ground, been able to just really hold it. There's been 3 times where the Richmond have kicked out and it's been out the full and it's turned over, and been able to really condense the footy, condense the ground at the moment.
Zane on the boundary.
We've had the re-emergence of Charlie Cameron. He's talking to some assistant coaches at the back of the bench, but at this stage it looks like maybe, although there's been a tag in of Fort, no, he's going back to sit there at the back, so maybe Charlie's going to be able to continue.
Yeah, so Fort's had a run from the back of the bench, but Cameron sitting there. Centre bounce, Richmond clearance. Bolton with a hand pass to the wing for Ross. Hands it to half forward for Taranto. Has a fumble, loses the footy. Picked up by Brisbane as Dunkley gets the hand pass to the wing. Fletcher has a bounce. Hands it to Archie. Archie kicks Brisbane from halfway to half forward. Robertson in the cage against Grimes and gets a free kick.
Yep.
Couldn't take the mark, but Grimes offended in that wrestling. And Devon Robertson, who started really well for Brisbane, there's a chance to have a look at options here. Man on the mark, 40 from goal, 10 in from the boundary at right half forward. Robertson doesn't go for goal. Hipwood has no one on him. He has sauntered to the pocket, unaccompanied, and the chip pass hits him 25 metres closer to goal. Angle note kind up, but it's a left footer in the right forward pocket.
Lazy defence there from the Tigers. They had enough there inside forward 50 just to actually squeeze them. But
so Eric Hipwood, 26 goals so far this season. It's been a pretty good year. His best back in 2018 was 37 goals. This will test his skill, starting his run up from outside the boundary line at right half forward. Will hit it now on his left boot from 35 metres out. Traditional drop punt. He falls over as he kicks it, but kicks the goal. Well, style marks weren't high, but execution was 10 out of 10.
Doesn't matter. Tomorrow we read in the paper, he's got 1 goal to Eric and hopefully a few more for him. But as Q said, really lazy defending by Bolter there. He just gave up on the lead when there was all space in front of him. And as you mentioned, Q, a bit of an angle, but a great side for him to kick with the left footer.
Brisbane 2-3-15. Richmond yet to score. Zane?
Jared Berry's come off and Charlie Cameron's back on cue. He's still feeling at that mouth. I think maybe he might have had it numbed, but the tongue's hanging out a little bit, but he's out there ready for the contest.
So, you're a lot closer than we are. Does he wear a mouth guard?
I couldn't see one when he was coming off, unless he's put it in his sock, but there's some players that don't, Pricey. I don't know why they don't.
He's got one in now. I saw when he came back on. So he's been told to whack one in.
That's not a bad option if you're listening, kids. Danaher in the middle now. Gets the clearance to Lockie Neal. Gets it onto his foot. It's a sky ball to right half forward. The Tigers through Vlosten enters and Broad ends up with the ball. Umpire says we'll ball it up right on the point of the centre square. The big ruckman. Samson Ryan versus Danaher. Interesting. Danaher at ground level. Gets it to his foot. Cameron's involved immediately. Takes the ball. He's tackled. Lets it loose to Bailey. Bailey tackled into the ground. 45 out directly in front. Will get a ball up.
Early couple of goals for Brisbane.
They're doing a really good job of taking away Richmond's time and space here.
Matt Primus and Jeff White, your experts. Ryan with the tap down. Kicked out of the air by Bolton to the middle of the ground. Richmond ball. Won by Clark. His hand pass to Baker, gives to Taranto, rush kick from the centre of the ground to half forward, met by Cumberland, controls it on the second attempt. Beautiful left foot kick, marked by Clark, runs to 30, drives it on his left to the right of the big opening for a behind. Missed it. Richmond's first score, 14 points the difference, 2-3-15 to 1 behind.
Very promising move from the Tigers there as the Lions play on from full-back through Brandon Starcevich. Long kick off hands of Dunkley. Picked up there by Hopper. Given over to Pickett. Long kick inside 50. The big pack punched away from Rewalt. Snap there from Baker. He had a wild ping. One behind though. So 2-3-15 the Lions. Two behinds in quick succession to the Tigers. 15 gone first term.
You want to get in touch? 0437 774 774. 0437 774 774. Please send us your name and where you're texting from. Coleman waltzes out of the goal mouth and kicks it down the corridor, marked by Cameron beyond centre half back. Hand pass to Ashcroft as the Lions run the gauntlet down the middle of the Gabba. Kick inside 50. Broad spores away from McCarthy. Hipwood kicks it off the ground. Out of bounds on the full. Just to the right of the goals. Free kick to Richmond in the left back pocket.
Richmond have to turn their head a bit quicker, but that's twice now they've been slingshot footy that's come from the back half. They've been able to get on the goal side. So they've got to really turn their heads and get onto the Brisbane forwards a lot quicker at the moment.
So Dylan Grimes to bring the ball back in. Long kick. Andrews in the front position. Spoiled there by Miller. Now the ball in the hands of Jack Ross on the boundary. That's a wobbler towards the wing. It will work and it'll go to the Queenslander and Samson Ryan, the boy from Sherwood. A long kick down the line. It's accurate too. Taken there by Cumberland. The handball now to the run there of Judson Clark. He kicks it to the top of the square. Disciplined. And that could be a mark. Was it paid? No. Ball stuck there underneath the pack now. The Tigers fans don't like it. It was Camden McIntosh who came across and it wasn't paid. Umpire's going to ball it up at the top of the centre square.
Interesting byplay there we'll get to in a moment as the ruckmen do battle. Coleman picks up and clears for Brisbane. His kick is straight to Jaden Short, who we know can kick long. Interesting, Judson Clark's there squaring up, all but marked by McIntosh, but Revolt still gave him a bake for not hitting him up in the pocket on the lead.
It's interesting right now.
It's a really good kick by Clark, had the hands been sticky.
A bit of Jack's personality.
Short. Right foot kick from 55. Sails through to send the Richmond contingent at the Gabba into early raptures. First goal of the night for the Tigers. And Jaden Short with that long boot. Beautiful finish. Brisbane 2-3-15, Richmond 1-2, 17 minutes travelled first quarter on Grandstand AFL.
It's about condensing, isn't it? Like Brisbane, when they had their two goals, it was all about their forward half. Pin them in, block them, zone up really well, just be on their goal side. Now Richmond, for the last 2 or 3 minutes, have done the same thing. So really game of chess at the moment.
And you're asking for trouble. That kick from Brisbane out of the stoppage had to go out wide to the boundary. You can't come back through the middle.
Yep.
You're always asking for trouble with one of those rush kicks.
So Brisbane leading the clearance is 6-2 at the moment. Inside 50s 10-7. In front of the scoreboard by 7 points. Umpire back into the middle of the Gabba. Thursday night football with McInerney getting it out of the hands of Nan Curvis. contested ball. Rayner came in and then showed his strength. Gave the don't argue if you don't mind from 50. The left foot was beautifully read by the Richmond defence in Nathan Broad. He chips it across. The player just dropped a pud there, and Bolter had time to pick it up. It could have been dangerous. Kick long to the wing though. Jack Payne did beautifully. Used his body against Rewalt and took a mark right in front of the ABC commentary box.
Big boy from Noosa. Right on the members' wing. Kicks Brisbane back to half forward. Short of its intended target, Danaher. Bolter reads the drop. Hits it, marks it for Richmond. Just beyond defensive 50 at left half back. 7 points the lead to the Lions. Bolter kicks it back from whence it came. Right close to the boundary line. Juggle but no control from Clark. Out of play. Boundary throw in. Around 31,000 fans expected for Thursday night footy at the Gabba to start round 16. The bye rounds are done. We, in a sense, hit the home straight in the run to September. You hear all the action here on ABC Sport through Grandstand AFL. Ball tossed in. Hipwood and McInerney doing ruck with Nankervis. Got the tap down. Neil rose, but Cotchin's clamped him and he can't get clear. The two number 9s with two Brownlow medals between them. Sapat. And now the ball's thrown in the air. Nankervis with the tap down. Tap clear by Cotchin, hoping for a rover. He got it to Baker, hands it back to Cotchin. Grubbing ball, gets it clear of the clearance. Good commitment there from Baker, and Coleman hit the ball. Ricochets to McInerney. Brisbane's ball. Rush kick to half forward. Floston at the front of the pack. Reads it well and marks for the Tigers.
Aggressive kick went into the middle, found Nankervis, then to the run of Hopper, and now the handball goes off to Dan Rioli, off to the races. He lowers the eyes, goes long inside 50, but the kick was pretty ordinary. It found Harris Andrews, who did a subterranean handball in what I would vaguely say the direction of Ryan Lester. It's gone over the boundary line. Richmond fans wanted deliberate. The replay to me shows that it's kind of a bit, geez, he's a good actor.
It's a half a metre away.
It is Logie season. Harris Andrews, you're involved.
I think he executed it pretty well at the end. Boundary throw in. Robertson hands it back towards the boundary. Brisbane clearance. McKenna receives a hand pass from Payne. Whacks it to half back. Plenty of players around it. McCluggage, though, emerges for Brisbane. Hand pass to Berry. Tackled. Got a hand pass back to McCluggage. Play on. Who has a bounce from half back. Kick to them. Hands it to the middle of the ground for Archie. Hands it to Ashcroft. Open 50. Back of the pack. It's Cameron in the cage with Rioli. It bounces over their heads and through for a rush behind. And Richmond quickly play on with a hand pass to Broad in the pocket, and he'll slot it to half back. You can't even give the score. 2-4 place 1-2. Pricey.
Picked up there, and the double Lions tackle. It was Kalarchi and Kitty Coleman got either side of Jack Graham and dumped him just close to the boundary line between the wing and right half forward for Brisbane. The Lions leading by 8 points, 21 gone first term. Grandstand AFL. Umpire throws it up. McInerney slaps it back to Dev Robertson. Beautiful blind turn. Got the ball back to Wilmot. Dances through the traffic. Kicks it inside 50. Hipwood in the front position. Bolter over the top. Destroyed the pack. McCluggage followed the ball to the boundary line. Then somebody's belted that deliberately over the boundary line. A hand from the pack did that. The umpire says we'll throw it in, though, in front of the scoreboard, seeing the Lions lead by 8.
2-4, 16 to 1-8. Glorious conditions for Thursday night footy. As the boundary umpire tosses the yellow Sharon back into play. Then Curvis beats McInerney. Plenty of foot soldiers underneath him, and we'll see another ball up.
Rioli-Cameron matchup you just mentioned.
Yeah, it was good fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Jeff. McInerney wins that tap, spikes it to full forward. Cameron pushes away from Rioli, but the support is magnificent. Floston makes the tackle, pressures him off the kick, through for a point. Lions by 9 as Richmond go with a quick exit to right half back, where Ross takes the mark on defensive 50.
They're not mucking around, the Tigers. They're not wasting any time at all. Ross to the run of Short. Chip forward to the outer wing to find Broad. They're surging forward. Broad, another little 15-metre kick. And he's found Young, Tyler Young, who's made his way down the field and just beside the logo on the outer side of the ground. Now they hold up. The Lions in front of them spread out. He chips it inside 50. Big pack of Tigers. Samson Ryan, the target. Punched out of his hands. Rode there. Standing start from Hopper. Hooked around the body from 40. Just to the left. And one behind. 17 plays 9. 8 points the margin. Lions lead 22 gone. First term.
McKenna short with the kick in to Neil. Marks it, hands it back to McKenna in the pocket. Kicks it long, looking for Coleman, who marks near the boundary line beyond defensive 50 at left half back. a bit of pressure around him, but the Lions managed to get it to defensive 50. Coleman conservatively kicks over the man on the mark to Neil. In game 100 as a Brisbane Lion tonight, Lachie Neale. Feted as a Docker, Brownlow medalist as a Lion. Neale kicks long towards the wing and a pack of players. Rain of the Flyer can't mark. McCluggage roves for Brisbane. Hand passes to Berry, hands it to half forward. Archie taps it cleverly to Ashcroft. Has to hold up. Now he's kick inside 50 is a bit of an inverted taut mongrel, but it's met by the chest of Charlie Cameron, who marks in the pocket. Not a pure strike. But if they go down the middle, that's the way you want to see them. And Charlie Cameron's on the end of it. Spent a bit of time earlier in this quarter off the ground, having been heavily met by Trent Conscient accidentally in the opening bounce. It looks like he's setting up for a drop punt from the left forward pocket. Hard on the boundary, 35 out. Cameron's kick is across the face and out of play on the bounce into the post. Throw in. Zane.
Yeah, just down here near the interchange gates, Cam Rayner went to ground. I don't know whether it was as a result of a collision from before that kick from Ashcroft, but he went down to ground and the medicos come straight out, brought him off, and they're now talking to him.
Throw in right forward pocket. Tigers missed the ball. Bailey picks it up. He's tackled, appealing for a high shot. His teammates, nothing doing as McIntosh crawls off him. The umpire's going to come in, and Bailey gives him the ball back. Bit of a wrestle between McInerney and Nankervis. Now McInerney wins out, but Nathan Braun just explodes away from the pack, kicks long, and Pickett went up very, very early on the wing. Didn't touch the ball. The umpire allowed that to happen. Berry now through hands. Connor McKenna inside 50. Charlie nudged his opponent under the ball. Couldn't take it. It bounced out of bounds. About 25 metres out in the left forward pocket.
G'day to Jack, who's listening, watching the footy on the telly, but listening to us. Thank you. 0437 774. Unfortunately, Matt from Avoca, he takes great call tonight, boys. Just a side question, are you giving away Taylor Swift tickets by any chance?
My daughters are asked that question too.
No, she's not coming here, so she's been brushed. From the boundary throw in, Dunkley has a snap-on goal, doesn't have the penetration. Bolter with a brilliant half volley at fullback for Richmond. Picks up and clears to the wing. One-on-one here, Robertson up against Clark. Robertson wins it for Brisbane. Hand pass out the back, stolen. Clark followed up for the Tigers. Hand pass looking for Baker, pushed off it by Starcevic. Tackled by Cumberland, but he's got support. Hands it out the back to Wilmot, and Wilmot's chip finds the space and finds Dev Robertson on the wing. Marks and kicks it to the lookalike Dunkley. Kicks infield on the 45 to McKenna, but has to hold up there just forward of the wing. McKenna's kick is wide to an unmarked Callum Archie, 55 out. Right half forward. No one on the mark. Archie keen not to roll on though, and taking a moment or two in just his third game of the season. Kicks it to the full forward zone. Out the back. Berry's got to the drop. He marked that half a metre off the ground. Right at the top of the goal square, and there's a wrestle between McIntosh and McCarthy. I think McCarthy might have just given him a little jumper punch there. Was close and let it go. Ooh. Yeah. Ooh. Was there a fist of fives through a black and yellow sash there?
I'll have a look at that.
Jared Berry's going to have a look at goal meanwhile. Slightly left of centre. Should be Brisbane's third goal. He's only kicked the 8 goals this year, Jared Berry. And on the right boot, umpire had to work furiously to his left, but he's kicked the goal, Berry, and that's 3 for Brisbane and a 14-point lead for the Lions. 27 minutes played first quarter. Brisbane 3-5-23, Richmond 1-3-9. Zane?
Yeah, Cam Rayner's okay, and he's about to come onto the field right now. Interestingly enough, Tim Taranto was off for a fair while. He was like a caged tiger down here. He's been playing on Josh Dunkley, and Dunkley's been getting plenty of possessions while he's been off, and he's a bit frustrated by that. I think Dunkley's leading all possession getters so far in the game.
Yeah, but both Richmond defenders just got too absorbed with Danaher then and didn't keep their eye on the ball and just floated over the back there. But geez, Brisbane do that well. I read a stat today that nearly 20% of their scores come from top of the goal square. Brisbane, they just attacked that. Archie was not even going to have a shot where he was. He's going to put it to that dangerous spot 5 metres out from the top of the goal square. Results in a lot of goals for Brisbane.
As Zano pointed out, Josh Dunkley now up to 10 disposals at 90% efficiency, doing beautifully back into the middle. McInerney.
He's definitely going to get done for striking in something, Pricey. Sorry.
Yeah, there was a little fist in there. That's why I was shocked. Ball's kicked now towards half forward. McCarthy, never seen him do anything like it. Long kick towards Danaher, but Bolter put his big frame in front of Joe. Took a strong mark. The handball back to short. He goes over to the opposite back pocket to find Broad in front of Charlie Cameron standing to mark.
Generally just in the fine category these days, but still. Broad from right half back, kicked Richmond long towards the wing. Target was Cumberland. Coleman made the spoil for Brisbane. Out the back, roved by Leicester of the Lions. High kick back to half forward around the boundary. Grimes and Archie battle at pitches near their feet. McCluggage wins the bouncing ball. In tight, can't create. His hand pass ricochets out of play. Boundary throw in.
I like what Brisbane's done. They've identified that when Richmond get the ball in between their arcs, they're trying to lower their eyes and hit those short, really low kicks. They're defending really, really well, forcing him to kick it long.
McInerney got it down into the path of Neil, who was bumped off the ball by Cochin. Cochin went back in and grabbed it too. Shot the handball out, but it was intercepted by Wilmot. Tumbled it to the 50. Handball from Archie to Lock Neil. He let go with the right foot and kicked it left of the goal post. Another behind. 3-6-24 the Lions. 1-3-9 the Tigers. 15 points the margin with 29 gone to the first term.
And Noah Bolter is taking his time before bringing this ball in. We've seen a couple of really quick inbounds from the Tigers, and they do seem to have a want to play quickly tonight. Launches a 70-metre drop punt almost out to the wing. And in front of the pack, Berry, though, marks for Brisbane. It's a good kick. Just didn't have anyone on the end of it. And now Jared Berry, inside the final minute of the opening term, can set up another Brisbane inside 50. Hands it to Coleman. Coleman kicks to the pocket. 2-on-2 contest, goes beyond the pack. Off hands, out of play, boundary throw in next to the behind post. So story of the first term, Charlie Cameron going off with an issue with his mouth, but he's been back out on the field. 3-1 to date. The Lions 15 points to the good, getting close to quarter time. And Curvis won the tap down, taps it back, boundary side, out of play. We'll do it again. 39 seconds left in the quarter.
So the crowd are a little buzz around, sort of wondering if the Lions will explode in the upcoming second quarter. 3 goals, 6-1-3. They've had the opportunities. The throw in, McInerney gets it down in front of Neil. Tight marking again as Nankervis picks it up, but his exiting kick, it's cut off by Wilmot. It's barely gone the required distance, but the umpire said, yep, no worries, go back and take your shot from about 35 out, slight angle to the left.
Yeah, another poor kick from your back 50 stoppage. You just don't want to kick them there. And that, as you said, Pricey, that was a lucky to be 15 metres, but just a dangerous spot where he kicked it like Brisbane did before that resulted in Richmond's first goal.
Darcy Wilmot, he's been a revelation since he was a surprise pick against Richmond in the final a year ago. As the siren goes, from right on the arc of 50, that's a nice looking kick. It's made the distance. Nice way to finish the term, and the Lions fans appreciate that. 4-6-30 the Lions. The Tigers 1-3-9 for a 21-point margin at quarter time. The goal kickers, well, Darcy Wilmot got one for the Lions just then. Hipwood has one, Berry has one, and Joe Danaher has one for the Tigers. There's only one goal kicker, and that was Jaden Short.
And the Tigers tonight doing it without Dustin Martin, if you were late to that news, which broke a couple of hours before the game. He's got flu-like symptoms and is not playing, so Noah Cumberland is into the Richmond team. And for the Lions, it's Darcy Fort who's the sub. Hugo Ralph-Smith is the sub for Richmond. Brisbane, 4 goals, 6-30, leading Richmond 1-3-9. A reminder, the cricket is not too far away, with Australia to resume at 5 for 339, with Steve Smith 85 not out and Alex Carey 11 not out. Our coverage is already underway on the ABC Listen app. Look for the red cricket ball button. You can hear Jim Maxwell and the rest of the BBC TMS team bring you every moment. A lot of you will be going to the cricket once we finish at the footy. And the National Rugby League has one game tonight. It's the Southern Sydney Derby between the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks and the St George Illawarra Dragons. It's just got underway and the Dragons have got an early try there. Dragons 4, Sharks 0. If you ever want to hear the league, ABC Listen app, look for the green ABC Sport button to pick that up there. But here at the Gabba, 21 points is the lead to Brisbane at quarter time. It'll be Jeff White and Matt Promise to tell you more about it in just a moment. Hope you're enjoying your Thursday night footy on Grandstand AFL.
With the ABC Listen app, you can take the footy with you wherever you go. Off to walk the dog?
Take the footy.
Going camping.
Take the footy.
Picnic in the park.
Take the footy.
ABC Sport's expert coverage of the AFL
Incredible grab.
and the NRL. Every goal, try, mark and tackle. Live and commercial free.
He bounces it through.
So whatever you're up to,
Take the footy.
take the footy with you on the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
We could have no Charlie Cameron because he's got blood coming from his mouth at the moment.
There's a head clash with Cochin.
Both weren't looking at the ball, not at each other, and ran into each other.
It's rowed by Neil. Kick towards the goal square. Danaher grabs it out of mid-air. It wasn't a mark, but he threw it onto his left boot, and it was a great snap from the goal square.
Robertson doesn't go for goal. Hipwood has no one on him. He has sauntered to the pocket, unaccompanied.
Lazy defence there from the Tigers. They had enough there inside forward 50 just to actually squeeze them.
Will hit it now on his left boot from 35 metres out. Traditional drop punt. He falls over as he kicks it, but kicks for goal. Short. Right foot kick from 55. Sails through. First goal of the night for the Tigers. Archie keen not to roll on though. In just his third game of the season. Kicks it to the full forward zone. Out the back. Berry's got to the drop. He marked that half a metre off the ground. Slightly left of centre. Should be Brisbane's third goal. And on the right boot, umpire had to work furiously to his left, but he's kicked the goal, Berry.
As the siren goes. From right on the arc of 50. That's a nice looking kick. It's made the distance. Nice way to finish the term, and the Lions fans appreciate that.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
The Gabatoire's has been very hard for visiting teams of recent years, and it's Brisbane with the jump over Richmond at quarter time. Welcome back, Quentin Hull and the team with you. This is ABC Sport Grandstand AFL. Brisbane 4-6-30. Lead Richmond 1-3-9. Your analysts this evening, Jeff White and Matt Primus, tell you more about how we got here after the first half hour.
Well, Whitey, it was a smashing around the ball. Clearances 14-4 to Brisbane, plus 20 contested possession, which is resulting in 19-9 inside 50s to Brizzy. So there's been a couple of good changes from Richmond, but they're trying to move the ball full length of the field because they're getting dominated around the ball. And as you mentioned a few times that quarter, then if Brizzy don't score, they're actually getting pinned, and Richmond aren't finding. They're playing quick on the way out, but then they get to about the wing and they're held up. So really, Brisbane have got the game on their terms really strong. And if they had kicked a bit more accurately, it'd be a really disastrous first quarter for the Tigers.
Yeah, it would have blown them out of the water early stages, and you're spot on. And it's just that the ability to be in between the arcs, but it's also just forward to centre. Brisbane's just ability to pick up and turn their head really quickly, get on the dangerous side. It's not allowing Richmond to play there. That's what they like. They like those chip kicks. They like to be able to hit the 45s. They like to be able to go through the middle. The only time they've really gone through the middle is when they got Nankervis. Nankervis got away and was able to get the link-up play through the middle, and they look really good. But besides that, Brisbane's able to really switch on really quickly. If the ball's not in their area as a defender or in the midfield, they're picking up really quickly, and it's just suffocating Richmond. So Richmond, all they do it when they've got the ball, they kick it long. And then you talk about contested footy, that's where they're winning it, on the ground. No doubt through the stoppages, but also when there's a loose ball get and stuff like that, they're just mopping up, and then they're able to hit their targets. They're able to hit off the line. They're not going straight towards goals, and that's why they've been able to be so dangerous. Danger signs here for Richmond early in this game, but they've just got to get their game going. If they can get their running numbers, get their handball cut through, then they can be effective.
Individually, big first term for Josh Dunkley. Leads all comers with 10 possessions, 9 for Hugh McCluggage. Hosts with 7, including McKenna, Berry and Neal for Brisbane. Richmond, it's Broad with 8 possessions across the back, Koch and 6 in the midfield, Ross, Floston, Bolton, Clark, Hopper, all with 5 possessions. Brisbane, 96 touches to Richmond 77, and that inside 50 plus 9 to Brisbane at 19-10. 21 points the difference. Locals in front, Michael Price, second term.
Ball bounced in the middle. Umpire won't recall that, even though it was favouring McInerney. He got the hit out down to Lockneil, the handball to Rayner, who came in from the opposite angle. His handball to McCluggage from a start, kicked it towards Hipwood. Punched away from him, ground level ball now. Short gets in over the top. He's smothered. Grimes in there for the Tigers as well. peeling himself off the turf. It's Jared Berry as the umpire throws it up 40 metres from the Lions' goal. Now it's with Nankervis. He gets it back now to Neil. Neil to Dunkley, who gave it back to Neil. He kicks it to the goal square. There's a wrestle between Danaher and Bolter. The ball has bounced through and it's going to be a free kick. It'll go to the Tiger defender in Noah Bolter as Joe, well, he basically just tugged him at the arm.
Well, Joe was calling for the free kick as well.
Generally what happens when you get those, it's like ruckman, you guys. You both look at each other and think, no, my kick. No. Defender and tall forward stuck together there as Bolter runs off the goal line, runs to the pocket, kicks long to right half back, a bit of a floater, double-fisted out of play by Lester of Brisbane, boundary throw in. And that's just the go for distance play from the Tigers there, Matt.
Well, I think Bolter likes to do that too. He's an athlete and he certainly can go running-wise, but when he has ball in hand, you hold your breath a bit if you're a Tiger supporter.
Boundary throw in. Nankervis from behind got the tap down, but it's Neil roving boundary side of the pack for Brisbane. Hand pass infield to McCluggage, hands it infield to Lester, runs forward of the wing, right foot kick to the pocket for Brisbane. Big pack, Danaher! He's the tallest, he's the strongest, he's the cleanest. Marks 25 metres out in the left forward pocket on a two-grabber.
Just love his ability to actually, the lateral awareness there. There was a body, Hipple was there, Rayner was there, but he was able just to shift his body to the right to be able to get himself to jump at it.
Came from behind. That was a beautiful mark from Joe Danaher.
Yeah, Bolter just got lost. He ran into his direct opponent there, got lost. Too aware of where Danaher was running the ball instead of trying to defend the ball.
Slight angle to the left, 30 out, left foot's true. Joe's got 2. Brisbane has 5 and a 27-point lead early in the second term for the locals. Lions 5-6-36, Tigers 1-3-9. Jeff White, Matt Primus.
He's so hard to match up on because he's so athletic. He can jump, he can get it on the ground like you saw the first goal he kicked was off the ground. But this that awareness, you just able to, get your defender into the pack and then be able to move yourself laterally to then give yourself a chance to jump on it. That's just an amazing athlete.
Yeah, both those key defenders, Bolter and Young, and they're going to have a torrid night if these inside 50 numbers continue down back for the Tigers.
21-10 now, the inside 50s. How about the clearances? 17-4.
Yeah, they've got to do something about that because if they don't get any territory, the poor Richmond forwards, who certainly can kick a score, are going to starve tonight.
McCluggage, Dunkley and Neil, all with 11 disposals already. Ball bounced perfectly in the middle there. McInerney got it back down to Dunkley, make that 12 for him. He tumbles it towards half forward. Cameron was in the front position. Getting back to help out there, Miller just tapped the ball away for the Tigers. It went towards the boundary line in front of... it was Kalachi. He took the ball over the boundary line in the contest, and the umpire says we'll throw it in 40 metres out. Congested footy inside the forward 50.
And the warning signs are starting to show for Richmond. Trying to stay in touch with this fight for the finals in 2023. Boundary throw in shallow, met by McInerney. Toes it to the advantage of McCluggage. Clearance Brisbane. Hand pass out the back to Berry. Hands it to McKenna. 50 out. Shins it to the pocket. Met by Ross of Richmond. He's tackled by Cameron. And the umpire says no prior, ball up.
Yeah, looking like the bye curse might have got Richmond very early on here, Q, doesn't it?
Or they're just not good enough. I don't know how many of those are cursed, the 8 no, but some aren't good enough. Some might be the curse, Matty.
Very cool.
And what we're talking about is Richmond didn't play last week. Brisbane did play last week, and currently in season 2023, it's 8-0 for the teams that have played the previous week, coming up against a team that had the bye the last week.
Look, in the meantime, we've got a conference going on here between several umpires as to whether it's a ball up or a throw in.
Or on the full.
Or on the full. So we voted for a throw in. It's 35 metres out from the Lions' goal. In the right forward pocket, McInerney gets rid of his opposing ruckman. Got the ball down, but it's picked up by McIntosh for the Tigers. He tumbles it towards the outer side. Judson Clark did beautifully against Kitty Coleman, but then he lost the ball. Neil, his handball over to Connor McKenna from the arc of 50. A long kick from McKenna. Danaher shepherds it through. And that's a great goal from the Irishman. He didn't have much time to think about it, and that might have been the trick. 6-6-42 to 1-3-9, and we're now up to a 33-point margin. 5 minutes gone, second term. Grandstand AFL, Michael Price with Quentin Hull. Your experts, Matty Primus and Jeff White.
Zane Bojack on the boundary.
Yeah, the interesting thing was they had that conflab and in the end made the wrong decision because I'm sure it came off the back heel of Kalachi and should have been a free kick there for Richmond. But anyway, they've got the goal now, Brisbane, and haven't they cleared out?
Yeah, they're switched on tonight, Brisbane, with their defence. The forward handball, but they are checking all Richmond's runners. They're putting pressure on the ball, and they're turning Richmond's handballs over, and that's giving them easy shots on goals.
And their ability to exit from when there's a ground ball, they actually hand pass it long. They're not hand passing in short. They're getting some width, and they're hand passing to players that are actually facing their goals.
24 clearances in the game, 19 won by Brisbane. It's a smash up around the contest at the moment. Centre bounce. Who gets this one? Another one for Brisbane. McCluggage underneath the ruckman. Kicks to half forward. Broad nudges Cameron under the drop to mark for Richmond. At left half back. Short pass to Hopper. Hopper marks, plays on, kicks it to the wing. Looking for Cumberland. He's led to the ball by Starcevic, who marks for Brisbane. Chips it short to Bailey. Bailey marks edge of the centre square. Chips infield to McInerney near the bullseye. And the big O holds up. Now he kicks a booming 60-metre drop punt to the pocket. Broad leaps marks for Richmond. Happy enough to leave his man and go to the footy and take a fine defender's grab in the left back pocket.
That was a courageous decision, that too.
Yeah, poor by Charlie Cameron. Charlie tried to duck out the back and get an easy one, and Broad went and marked the ball.
There's a 50, Danaher.
Yeah. Well, the ball went laterally over to Bolter. Bolter just made a little movement, and Joe, too much movement. The umpire deemed a 50-metre penalty. It's a pretty short 50, just quietly. I'll give it about 45. Anyway, Charlie Cameron standing the mark just inside the centre square. And Bolter, a long kick to right half forward, ill-directed though. Darcy Wilmot read it all the way and basically uncontested takes a chest mark, 60 metres with his back to his own goal. He's just gesturing to the Brisbane Lions teammates for a bit more movement in front of him. Ends up going long down the line towards McInerney, who pushed Nankervis out of the way. Yeah, free kick for in the back. The Big O doesn't like it, but Nank's going to take it with a hand on each number of his back.
Left hand 2, right hand 5. Nankervis kicks to half forward for Richmond. Again, a floating ball met by Leicester of Brisbane. That was looking for Pickett. Leicester marks, plays on, chips infield to McKenna. Marks and chips it to the bullseye mark by Bailey. Hand pass back to Leicester. Brisbane run the middle of the Gabba again. Hand pass to Ashcroft. Hand pass over his left shoulder to Cameron. What a trick. Has a shot from 50. That is Brisbane Lions football of the upper quality. And it's Charlie Cameron finishing it off. Usually that's the star turn. But how about the no look over the left shoulder handball from Kid Wonder Ashcroft? And John Denvers again goes around the Gabba. Put it down to son of Choppers though. How about that, Matt Primus and Jeff White for a trick?
Amazing anticipation, skill level. And the whole play was the 45 back inside, the handball in waves running off there. Impossible to defend and a beautiful finish, but great call, Q. Beautiful by Ashcroft.
Zane?
Yeah, interesting. Ralph Smith has had the GPS unit put in the back of his jersey, suggesting he's going to be coming on very shortly, but I don't know who it's going to be for.
Looks like Jaden Short's marked off on the champion data there.
Yes, well, that's who I was thinking. So, anyway, we'll wait and see. He's about to walk onto the bench and take his jersey off now.
Well, the Tigers can ill afford that. They're absolutely getting belted. Clearance is 20-5 right now, back into the middle, and, well, they're going to win this one because Samson Ryan's got a free kick against Oscar McInerney in the ruck. So the young Queenslander from the back end of the centre circle, kicks long inside 50, was looking for Jack Ross, who was taken down nicely, rode there from Graham, has a ping from 45, good bounce to the left though. If you're a Brisbane supporter, makes it a one behind. So 48 plays 10. It's the Lions by 38 points with 9 gone in the second term, and they're looking to play on quickly from full back.
It's a bash up at the moment. Tigers need something as Wilmot runs to the pocket. A long inbound from Darcy Wilmot. Ryan in front of McInerney. McInerney spoils it over the boundary line. And then the two big men tangle near the paint. It's going to be a Richmond free kick. The boy from Toowoomba, Samson Ryan. I hope his family's come from the range to have a look. Had to go to Richmond to get a chance at AFL level. Just forward of the wing. Kicks the Tigers back inside 50 to the pocket. Off the hands of the pack, spoiled by Andrews, goes to ground level. Coleman rows for Brisbane. Hand pass to Leicester. A rushed up and under kick. Goes up 20 down, 20 and across 3. Still pitches in the pocket. Underneath it, Revolt's hand pass for Richmond, taken by Baker, hands it out the back to Broad. 2 steps, 45, banks it to the goal mouth. McIntosh the target. Andrews leaves his man to spoil again. Devilish bouncing ball in the pocket, gathered by McCluggage of Brisbane. Finds a path, kicks it clear, but it'll be coming back. He's kicked it straight to Bolter on the wing for the Tigers.
So Noah Bolter, just about every player on the park in front of him. He's standing on the wing. He chips it forward. That's Judson Clark. Well, he set his teammate in Taranto up and was spoiled easily by McCluggage, but the Tigers still went out through hands. Judson Clark back to Vlosten. He's corralled by McCarthy. Barely got the ball back into the corridor. Grimes off a step, a tumbling punt inside 50. Fisted towards the boundary there by Harris Andrews. Fletcher, he's slung over the boundary line. It's only because he's a young man and so light, it just looked a little bit more whippy than it actually was. But
close.
You see, that is a sling in the vernacular. Anyway, the ball's over the boundary line, 35 metres out in the right forward pocket. They're pressing yet again. 38 points the margin, Brisbane leading.
It's a very provocative area, that tackle. It's the 50 shades of grey, isn't it? Fletcher, he's okay though. Left half back, got the clearance for Brisbane. Kicks it beyond defensive 50, but Vlosten marks for Richmond. And he'll send them forward again. Tigers needing something here. Brisbane lead by 38 points. Mid-second term, Vlosten. Ham passes. His man there was under a bit of pressure. Hopper kicks it to the pack in the pocket. Whitey and roved by Taranto. Snaps around the back pocket. Ushered through for a point.
There's no
movement
up in the forward line there from Richmond 50. Yeah, there's no movement in the forward line. So the players kicking inside forward 50. They're seeing no movement, but it's also Brisbane are defending so well.
Now Brisbane have got a 50-metre penalty directly from full back, and Kitty Coleman just decided he took off. He's kicked it just beyond centre wing, and it's going to be Dev Robertson took the mark, and then he's held up there. Brisbane fans wondering why Jack Ross was allowed to lay on him and didn't give away a free kick. I think it's okay. He goes out wide towards right half forward and finds McCluggage on the lead. McCluggage is held up about 80 metres from the Brisbane Lions goal. He kicks it in the Danaher direction on the lead. Oh, Danaher got up. It bounced off his chest. Now it's loose on the ground. Ashcroft in there. Bailey as well. Bailey gathers, loses the ball. Ashcroft puts himself in again. Tigers defence on top of the pair. And we'll have a ball up about 35 metres out. Oh, boy, Joe had the set. Just bounced between the pectoral muscles.
Good looking fly. Ball up in the right forward pocket for Brisbane. McInerney palms down. Ross steals it for Richmond. And he pumps it clear from the pocket. Out towards left half back, out of bounds on the full. Not far away from Zano. Free kick, Harris Andrews. Zane?
Yeah, Jaden Short's re-emerged. He's gone to the back of the bench and is confirmed by Richmond that it's a right hamstring issue.
So that is not good news for Jaden Short. Thank you. Brisbane back inside 50. Kick to a pack. No mark. Roved by Hopper of the Tigers. Hands it to Vlosten. Rush kick clear again. Miller tries to tap it over his head. Didn't time it. Stolen by Andrews of Brisbane. Hands it to Ashcroft. Hands to the boundary for Coleman. Hands it back to Andrews. They're mucking around with it at right half forward. So Harris puts a torpy to the pocket, which is beautifully marked by Vlosten. At the back of the pack for Richmond. They're not easy to mark.
No, they're not easy to mark, but they've done a great job of just slowing Richmond down here.
Oh, the ball was chipped forward. Jack Ross dropped a pud, got the handball away, but the tackle laid by the Brisbane player in McCarthy was deemed too high. So Jack Ross will get the free kick.
Geez, if it wasn't for Broad and Vlosten,
they're under siege down there. Aren't
they? It's coming back to Tyler Young, who was also involved in that fracas. So he's got the ball.
Broad's had 11, Vlosten 9.
He kicks it out towards the outer wing. Good contest from Shai Bolton. Breaks away, got the handball away. Now comes back to Ross, got around Coleman and then dropped the ball after he was basically scared off it. Wasn't tackled. Hipwood now. Handball to Will Ashcroft. Handball to McCluggage. He runs to 70 out. Chips in front of Danaher. Great spoil, Bolter. Oh, not a great spoil. It was an illegal spoil. Well, it was an effective spoil. That's what I should have said. It went over the boundary line. But Joe Danaher's going to take a free kick about 40 metres out, but his right leg is about a metre from the boundary line.
He made him earn it, Price. He put it that way. That spoil, he wound up from a mile away and clipped him around the ears. But once again, the turnover, and that's 30 inside 50s now for Brisbane, and it's halfway through the second quarter.
In response to the Tigers' 14. So Joe Danaher's already got a pair of goals, the big fella. Gabba crowd would love this. From right on the boundary line, he wheels around and then he spotted a target and speared a beautiful pass to Zach Bailey. Hit him on the chest, 25, outside angle to the right.
Meanwhile, Alex Carey has lost his wicket at Lords. He was given not out by the ump, reviewed, LBW, 3 red lights. Carey out, Australia now 6 for 351. I'll give you his score after this kick.
The former Giant out. And we've got Zach Bailey from around about 30 metres. Usually a good kick for goal. Makes no mistake this time either. The Lions extend their lead. 8 goals, 654 to 1-5-11. It's now a 43-point margin at the Gabba Thursday night footy.
And if you're a Richmond fan, the ABC Listen app and the red cricket button is available. Alex Carey out for 22. Australia 6 for 351. This is getting ugly.
Very ugly. And that's twice now that they've had a set shot out from outside forward 50 and kicked it inside forward 50 for uncontested mark. And when you look at the behind the goals, you could see that was a lot of witches' hats as Richmond players standing there. I mean, it wasn't the best kick in the world, but his intentions were to hit him up. And just not being that, just so many gaps inside forward 50 when you're trying to kick outside forward 50.
Well, this mini renaissance is becoming pretty flat here for the Tigers. Too many. For their top 8 hopes if this continues. Centre bounce, Brisbane clearance again. Danaher's picking it up off the deck. Hands it to Wilmot, running off half-back. Lions clearance, long kick to the pocket. Richmond mark though. Young takes the grab in a 2-on-2, got to the drop. And his hands are clean. Hand pass to Bolter, who's wrapping around behind him. Takes a bounce, kicks to half-back. Marked by Broad, plays on it right half-back near the boundary. Kicks towards the wing, kicks it into the crowd almost. Out of bounds on the full. Free kick to Connor McKenna.
Just
right in front of us
again.
on the members' wing.
Great pressure by Cameron then. Just that chase just made him have to pull his kick a little bit.
McKenna to Dunkley, Dunkley to Bailey. Chip in field on the 45, chip back to the boundary on the 45. Bailey's got it on the flank, 70 metres out. Long kick to full forward yet again. Bolter in the hole. No, it's Nank this time. Nankervis takes the mark in the back pocket. Zane on the boundary.
Yeah, Whitey, remember when I said that draw might come in crucial in that match against Port to get into the finals? Just scrap what I said, mate.
Yeah, fair enough to say. No, not a problem there as Richmond exit, and they're doing it very slowly because they basically have to. The Lions have stopped that surge, and as Broad, he's between left half back and the wing, and he goes further out towards the wing to find Ralph Smith, Hugo Ralph Smith, the flowing mullet, against the boundary. Shorter centre wing, outer side. That's a nice long drop punt towards left half forward. Off the boot of Leicester. Was it out of bounds on the full? No. It did dribble out of bounds though, and it'll be a throw in when the arc of 50 meets the boundary at left half forward for the Tigers.
There's just no movement up forward though for the Tigers. They're getting the ball to the wing, but there's no movement up forward, and they're trying to link up, and they're just there's no flow in their game at the moment.
Oh, for the reign of the MCG. The Tigers thinking a different looking lot in that second half in Cochin's 300th. Boundary throw in. Berry's tackled over the line by Nankervis. Throw in. Brisbane led by 21 points at quarter time. We're now 19 minutes into the second quarter, and it's a 43-point lead. 8-6-54 to 1-5-11.
It's none of their mids too, Q. It's Bolton 6 possessions, Cochin 7 possessions, Taranto 7 possessions. They're just not getting their hands on the ball, the Richmond mids.
Throw in on attacking 50 for the Tigers. To the foot of the pack, no clearance as McCluggage is tackled by Taranto. Ball up once more.
22 clearances to 7 as the umpire throws it up yet again. Nankervis towards the boundary line. It's sharked there by Jared Berry for Brisbane. Kicks it to the wing. Rayner destroyed that contest. Went up and fisted the ball directly at the boundary line. Be a throw in on the wing. He's got some aggressive presence, physical presence, Cam Rayner, hasn't
that pack hard, Pricey, for sure.
So it's going to be a throw in front of the Brisbane Lions bench. Be happy with the way their team's going about their work at the moment. McInerney slaps it down. Shark by Cochin. Immediately tackled by Dunkley and buried into the outer wing here at the Gabba. 300th game only a couple of weeks ago. He knew he was about then.
Ball tossed in the air. Bailey burst through from the tap of McInerney. Shrugs a tackle, wins the clearance for Brisbane. Deep kick, McCarthy's got a couple to beat. Can't mark, but roves his own crumb in the goal mouth and kicks another Brisbane goal. It was 2 against him. But Link found the telling touch. The margin is 49 points. And we're only 20 minutes into the second quarter. Brisbane 9-6-60 to Richmond 1-5-11.
The kick inside 50 was outstanding. It was just a little bit to his advantage. It just took out the spare Richmond defender, and then the rest was up to McCarthy. A beautiful touch to himself to bring it down on the ground, and then his speed. And he had a couple of teammates there too with the speed in there, but there's a lot of easy ball coming inside Brisbane's inside 50, and those Richmond backs are under the pump. This is a pause I've seen Richmond's midfield for a long, long time.
5 straight to 2 behinds in this term, Whitey.
Yeah, but the ability for Zach Bailey not only to break the lines and get through, but actually to take ground, not just kick it, just take ground. He knew he was free, and the position of where he kicked it inside that V was perfect.
The Lions plus 700 odd in metres gained as well, so yet another clearance. But this one sharked for Brisbane by Dunkley. He loses it. Graham gives it off there to Judson Clark, who, under a lot of pressure, kicks it inside 50, but it's only cut off there by Brandon Starcevich. He flares it out to the right. Nice little chip kick. Find Jared Berry, and he'll go outside the arc to right half back to find Ryan Lester. So they've set up yet again, Brisbane. This has been methodical. Now it's going to come back the other way. Centre half back, Connor McKenna, straight up the middle, the nice lead from Bailey. Now the pace and the run. He's got options to the left here aplenty, including Jasper Fletcher, the father-son. Chips it another 25 metres forward to Dunkley, who's been everywhere. He gets belted into the ground after he takes it. Crowd wants 50, nothing doing. But Dunkley wheels around. He's got a leader in Hipwood. Kicks it down his throat. Absolutely down his throat. There was nothing standing in Eric Hipwood's way as that ball was delivered perfectly. He's going to have a shot. 45-degree angle to the left, but from about 35 metres.
I've seen this a bit tonight. Richmond's backs, there's hands on the hips, there's question mark like to each other, hands in the air. Hey, how come you're not on him? Who's on him? Why didn't you call out? Why didn't you block? There's a lot of discussion going on down there.
Dead fierce cat bounce this. It is a dead cat bounce this from the Tigers tonight.
Eric Hipwood.
They're gone.
1 goal, 1 for the night so far from Eric. He strolls in. Oh, that's an awkward left footer. It strikes it way to the right and it comes off hands for a behind. 61 plays 11. It's a 50-point ball game in favour of the Brisbane Lions with 23 gone to the second term. Zane Bojak's on the boundary.
I can tell you guys, if you look up disappointment in the Macquarie Dictionary, you'll see a picture of Jack Rewalt, because when that mark was taken, I tell you what, I've never seen a more sad man in my life.
It's only a half a footy, but it's a half off the bye where there was so much positivity and celebration at Trent Cotchin's 300th game, 3rd win in a row, coming back against the Saints to win. Damien Hardwick watching on in the stands, and everyone thought, watch out, they're on the pace. But what about off the bye? They've offered little so far. From the inbound, another turnover. Rioli marked at half-back, kicks to the wing. Andrews intercepts for Brisbane. Chips in field, marked by Starcevich. And Starcevich will hold up. Brandon Starcevich looking boundary side, now kicking in field to McKenna. Marks. Chips it to Ashcroft in the centre of the Gabba, defensive side of the bullseye. Will Ashcroft takes a moment. He's got options conservatively, which he doesn't really want to go for. Called to play on and now does through necessity. Chip backwards. Starcevich marks. Transfers along the edge of the centre square, marked by Rayner. They've got time to just pick off their movement here, the Lions.
They've been really patient.
Rayner to Wilmot on the wing, Whitey. Still on halfway. And now Wilmot, here's the kick to a contest. Wide to right, half forward. Well, not a contest. Marked by Lester on the edge of the boundary. Hand pass infield to Coleman, 60 out. Long kick from Kadeen Coleman to fall forward. McCarthy flies at the front, can't mark. Dunkley a chance to rove. He's tackled by Nankervis. Neutral, ball up in the goal mouth that the Lions are attacking. 50 points the margin.
I love that play, though. They've been patient and they're just getting Richmond to defend them.
Umpire throws it up, Nankervis slaps it down, Pickett roves, tackled immediately by Bailey. Tries to struggle out of it. The umpire's going to call it? No. Says the ball was held to him. Deb Robertson peels himself off as well, and we'll get another ball up 25 metres out. Umpire throws it up immediately. Nankervis from the rear position gets it down there to Shai Bolton. Rare kick, kicks it towards the outer wing. And Kitty Coleman used his body well against Baker. Takes the mark, chips it forward. Lock Neal now on the point of the centre square at right half forward for the Lions. He chips it towards the boundary line. His good mate Link McCarthy was the target. Tigers through hands, mess it up. Picked up by Ashcroft, 45 out. Handball to Wilmot. He won't die wondering, this kid. He's popped it up towards the goal square. Big fly and off hands. It's going to go out of bounds and we'll get a throw in right beside the behind post.
35 inside 50s to 16. 9-7-61 plays 1-5-11. It is the first half off the bye for the Tigers, but it's been a very average one for them. About 4 minutes of playing time left in this first half at the Gabba. Shallow boundary throw in. McInerney flips it over his head, hoping for a rover. Ricochets into the hands of Archie. Couldn't get a kick away. Bolter steals it for the Tigers. Hands it to Cochin. Hands it on to Taranto. Clearing kick towards the wing. And a contest. Off-hands rode by Bolton. A little in and away to get away from Coleman. Gee, he still moves smoothly. Has a bounce. Rolls to the wing. Kicks it to half forward. Marked by Ryan. Left half forward. 65 out. Has to hold up.
Got to go now.
Yeah, taking his time, Matt. Now he does. It's a long kick to the pocket, out of bounds on the full by a couple of metres.
And that's the thing, like, he just got to swing and go. That's exactly what you're saying, Matt. He got to swing and go because the numbers for Brisbane just get back so quickly.
So the Lions in the right back pocket. Ball's with the father-son in Jasper Fletcher. It's a nice drop punch, just short of centre wing. Big pack flies and off hands. Cochin gets there and Hipwood injected himself, knocked the ball out, but it's stolen by Pickett. He wheels around, kicks it to left half forward and finds Bolton right on the arc of 50. He turns his back on play and says, look, I might as well have a ping. Then he plays on, pops it up. It's a halfway kick. Harris Andrews was advantaged by that, got his hand to it first. It was a nothing kick, really, and it was a rush behind in the end. 1-6-12, plays 9-7-61, 49 points the margin, Lions lead.
Hum of the Gabba crowd as Connor McKenna strolls out of fullback. Short pass marked by Neal. Still inside defensive 50. 100th game as a Brisbane Lion, Lockie Neal. Kicks it across the face of goal to Jasper Fletcher. So his dad coming in tonight. Adrian's here once more. He's held up, Fletcher. He is going to play on now with a long kick to a contest near the wing. Ralph Smith flies in the pack, takes a great mark. Even more aesthetically pleasing with those locks flowing out the back. Beautifully as he climbed and clutched the Sherrin. He's going to kick Richmond back into attack. Ralph Smith to the corridor. It'll come down about 30 out. Baker marks. Met it with his chest. Takes the grab. Liam Baker has a chance to kick a much-needed goal for Richmond late in this second term.
It's a bit better, the kick. Some of the kicks haven't gone inside 450 a hell of a lot. A lot of it's been quick kicks, but at least that one was inside the V.
A rather unleavened response by the Richmond faithful for Baker there. Not much rise around the place by the Tiger faithful. They've seen their team struggle in the first half here, and Baker's pushed that to the right. Behind. 1-7-13 to 9-7-61. 8 goals the difference, Brisbane in front.
So that was a thick slice. Goes over to...
You and I we got something going, Price.
Kitty Coleman, right back pocket. Oh, sometimes you have to, Q. It's a long kick down the outer side. Bolter flies. Good fly. Couldn't quite take it. Cam Rayner gathers. Brushed off one. Tried to brush off two. He got absolutely hammered by the second two players, but the umpire says, we won't ping you for holding the ball. And we'll throw it in on the outer side. It's just gone over the boundary line. So on the Stanley Street side of the ground, we'll get McInerney versus Nankervis again. The umpire takes his time in throwing it in as well. McInerney got it down to Neal, immediately jumped on by Hopper on the logo, and will do it all again. Lions by 48.
And they've just been first to the ball all around the contest. It's in the air, on the ground.
Mitchell Stark's out for 6. Australia 7 for 358. Steve Smith's only added, I think, 1 run so far today. We'll get to that in a moment. Playback underway out of side from the restart. Another stoppage left half forward as Baker applies a tackle on Coleman.
On the dreaded 87, Q. He's been stuck on that. It's
still 87,
number, isn't
is
it?
he? Stark out for 6. 7 for 358. Stoppage. Right half back Brisbane. Rove by McKenna. Kicks it around his body to the wing. Floston couldn't mark. Placed tackler on Danaher though. The ricochet went to Big Joe. Floston locks him up. And we have 33 seconds left of this first half. Brisbane 21 points to the good at quarter time. Kicked 5 goals, 1 to 4 behinds in this second term. Nankervis knuckles at 20 metres clear of the stoppage. No one near it. Out of play she rolls. Looking forward to half-time tonight. One E. Hull about to make his umpiring debut during the Auskick games.
Yes.
My young boys out there umpiring.
Eyes all on him here, yes.
From Auskicker. Yep. So that's what I'm looking out for at half-time, Pricey. That's probably going to be the highlight of the night.
I think so. So far, it's still...
Boundary throw-in on the outer side, and again, no clearance here. Devon Robertson's locked up by Cochin.
Let
you want
the
the last
flow, will he, Hugh?
He likes to let the players decide the outcome, Matt. Good communicator, as you'd expect.
Fantastic.
Smacks it down, does McInerney. Tigers with a late chance here through Bolton. Off a step, tumbled inside 50, rove by Rewald off the pack. He wheels around onto his right, kicks it short. It's punched out of the hands of Cumberland, who looks like he might have done an ankle as he goes forward, and it's taken in defence there by Cam Rayner. But I'm looking back at young Noah Cumberland, who fell awkwardly, and he gets up and he can't put any pressure on his right foot. The trainers have gone out to him. The poor young man, he just twisted as he went to take that mark so awkwardly. But it is half-time. 9-7-61 the Lions, 1-7-13 the Tigers. It's a 48-point margin, and that's after Brisbane led by 21 points at quarter time.
And Joe Danaher's the only player on the ground with multiple goals. He's got a couple. Singles for Jared Berry, Lincoln McCarthy, Charlie Cameron, Connor McKenna, Eric Hipwood, Zach Bailey and Darcy Wilmot. Bit of the drama early in the game. Charlie Cameron copped an accidental head-on clash with Trent Cochin. Cochin with no problems from it, but Cameron went off with a mouth issue. He's back out there now, and for Richmond, their only goal kicked by Jaden Short, 17 minutes back in the first term. And Zane, we were speaking about Noah Cumberland, and he is now in the arms of the trainers.
Yeah, he's actually been able to put a little bit of weight on it just then, so maybe he's getting a bit more feeling, but he is really encumbered. No pun intended. But the other thing is the man who's just gone up to see Marlon Pickett, he's got a problem with his left wrist. He's been trying to get it worked on by the medical staff. So the Tigers are already down one man with Short off with a hamstring. Pickett's struggling with a wrist injury, and Cumberland is struggling with an ankle injury. They could be down a couple on their bench come the third quarter, the second half.
But don't think the real reason they're where they're at, though, Jeff White and Matt Primus. A couple of thoughts from our experts before our half-time commitments. 48 the difference, Brisbane in a canter through the first half here.
Well, just the pressure and the ability to also have patience, even though they're up by 50 points, the ability to still hit their targets, the work rate through the arcs. You got Dunkley, McCluggage, Neal, McKenna as well, the halfback, Wilmot, Ashcroft. Just so many options through the middle of the ground that they've been able to pinpoint and dissect the Richmond defence. And then when from there, forward to centre, they're able to get the ability to go inside forward 50. And if it wasn't for Vlosten and Broad,
scoreboard would
be even further down the pipe. You know, the way the games are unfolding, and then the ability to defend. Once the ball goes in there forward 50, it's been a lot forward 50 in favour of Brisbane, but then the pressure that the forwards are putting on them, you know, Charlie Cameron, McCluggage has been down there, Zach Bailey, he's just his awareness to be able to defend and just force them and just put them in a little bit of a corner back inside forward 50. So whether it's been in the air or whether it's been on the ground, we've spoken about their clearances as well. Brisbane's just been on top, been superior, and you know they will go in half time now, and I know Fags really well. Put our foot on their throat. Let's go for it. Let's have a full quarter effort and not pull back. You know, just keep putting that scoreboard pressure on.
Well, same old story as we get to this part of the season. We look at the ladder. If Richmond is to drop this game, percentage is going to be even more important for them. They're just over the 100 mark, and if Brisbane is to try and get into the top two, well, they're 2 games behind Port Adelaide and Collingwood as it stands. So
And Melbourne has a good percentage too, so they're all at 130.
Yeah, Brisbane's the worst in the top four.
Correct.
Brisbane's is 121. Ports is 119.
Oh, sorry, my apologies.
It's a two-game gap.
Ports is the worst, but they've got 2 more wins.
2 more wins, yeah. So you're right, the percentage is important. And, well, I haven't seen... Richmond gave good effort in the first quarter, but their effort dropped away. You know, they just got smashed. As you mentioned, Whitey threw the ball, and then there was a lot of hands in the air, talking to each other, all those sorts of things. They look miles off as if they're still on their bye. And that's going to be, I reckon, that'll be the number one discussion that McCall will be talking to them about half-time. Hey, guys, you guys are still on holidays. You've got a half to try and do something about it. What they can do about it, we'll soon tell.
And then when they get the ball and they feel like they're open, they're pressuring their possession.
Themselves, yeah.
They kick it long or hand pass it, and there's force in the area, and that's all a credit to Brisbane's defence.
Thank you, gentlemen. Repeating that scoreline at half-time, Brisbane 9-7, 61, leading Richmond 1-7-13. 48 points the margin to the locals. In the National Rugby League tonight, it's St George Illawarra taking on Cronulla Sutherland, getting close to half-time. The Sharks 18, lead the Dragons 10. And Steve Smith is in the 90s. He's 91 not out. He's been joined by skipper Pat Cummins, who has won. Australia 7 for 364. Having resumed at 5 for 339. So today, 2 wickets going down. That of Carey, LBW Broad for 22, and Stark caught Besto Bold Anderson for 6. Australia 7 for 364. And another reminder, ABC Listen at Red Cricket Ball button. That's where you can hear it now and throughout, or if you are with us, some many stations going to Lords once we finish at the footy. Lions on top, 48 points the lead to the locals at half-time. More to come from the Gabba after the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News with Glenn Lauder. The former New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian's considering her legal options after the ICAC found she'd engaged in serious corrupt conduct. Amy Greenbank has the story.
It's unclear if the former New South Wales Premier intends to appeal the corruption findings, but said in a statement her legal team was examining the ICAC's report. Opposition leader Mark Speakman said Ms Berejiklian should be remembered as an outstanding leader, but that she also should have disclosed her relationship with Wagga Wagga MP Daryl Maguire. The ICAC found the pair's secret relationship led to a conflict of interest for the former Premier when she awarded 2 multi-million-dollar grants to projects pushed by Mr Maguire. The report also found she suspected he might have been involved in corrupt dealings, but did not report it to the watchdog. However, Ms Berejiklian will not face criminal charges.
New data shows Australian retail sales remain strong despite inflationary pressure. Turnover rose by 0.7% for May, according to the Bureau of Statistics. They were relatively flat in April, but rose by 0.4% in March. ABS officials say customers took advantage of an early start to end of financial year sales events, as well as Mother's Day and the Click Frenzy mayhem. Meanwhile, the NAB surveyed more than 500,000 of its customers and found they remain broadly resilient despite the rising cost of living. Here's senior business correspondent Peter Ryan.
Of those 570,000 customers, the NAB found that more than 8,500 home loan customers might be at risk and might need additional support. But after checking in and going through their finances, the NAB says only 14 of those customers had to be referred for special help. But of course, banks make the point that if you are in distress, you should get in touch with your bank ASAP. And the NAB has been making the point that 90% of these customers who might be feeling a bit stressed can be put back on their feet within 90 days.
The Prime Minister insists families won't be out of pocket as parents face higher childcare fees, despite the government's more generous childcare subsidy. The federal government's promising to make childcare cheaper from the 1st of July for around 1.2 million families, but childcare sector advocates fear it won't cover the full cost of fee hikes. Anthony Albanese insists that families will still benefit.
They won't be out of pocket. These changes will make a substantial difference to them, and they're just the first tranche. We're having a Productivity Commission review already, an inquiry that's looking at a move towards more universal provision.
The government in Victoria has released details of the Premier Daniel Andrews' trip to China earlier this year, which sparked controversy following his decision not to invite any media. Key outcomes of the 6-day trip, which cost more than $80,000, include the establishment of a higher education working group and planning discussions around the 2026 Commonwealth Games in Victoria. Mr Andrews was the first Australian leader to visit China since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. Heading overseas now, and rescue workers in the Ukrainian city of Kramatorsk say that a 12th person is confirmed to have died after a Russian missile strike on a restaurant. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says that a local man arrested over the attack will be charged with treason and will face a possible life in prison sentence. The Ukrainian security services described him as a sleeper agent who'd been recruited by Russian military intelligence before last year's invasion. They say he was activated to collect information and had covertly filmed the restaurant on the day of the strike. The French President Emmanuel Macron has held a crisis meeting with his ministers following growing unrest across the country. At least 150 people have been arrested for protests over the killing of a teenage boy by police. Clashes between demonstrators and officers have spread from Paris to other cities in the north and the south of the country. Sabrina Sabahi is the representative for the Paris suburb of Nanterre, where the shooting took place. She's described the incident as a flagrant disregard for human life.
Not only do I understand, but I also share the anger. How can you stand still after watching the video of a 70-year-old boy killed by a police officer, yelling seconds before that he's going to shoot him in the head? All of this has been going on for too many years.
That's it for ABC News. For more, you can download the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2023 AFL Premiership season.
'Cause here it comes, AFL.
On ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app. Look for the AFL button.
Something big is coming, I know.
Thanks to the newsroom. Welcome back to the Gabba. Brisbane lead Richmond by 48 points. Quentin Hull and the team with you. And we're going to take a little trip to the home of cricket because the Australian captain was on strike. Stephen Smith is at the non-strikers and he's 99 not out. Our continued cricket coverage on the ABC Listen app through the red cricket ball button. Stuart Broad's running in at the moment. We'll get to Matt Primus and to Jeff White throughout the halftime break for further assessment. But needless to say, Brisbane dominating here. 21 points in front at quarter time, 48 points in front at half-time. When the footy's back on, we'll be back here. We'll be back here as soon as Steve Smith scores 100, if he scores it soon. But Pat Cummins is on strike, so let's take in a little bit of that call from Lords with the BBC TMS team. Smith at the non-strikers end. It's Broad bowling from the pavilion end to Australian captain Cummins.
In the channel with the slope at Lords, bowling from the pavilion end. Just holds its line.
Yeah, that's high class from Stuart Broad. Plays and misses.
Well, we talked about this yesterday.
In comparison to Edgbaston.
Did you come up with that in the end results? I asked you that yesterday, but it was quite a difficult one to...
Yeah, the full shot percentage was 22%. I think it was about 13% plays and misses, 9% edges.
Yes, Broad moving into bowl to Cummins, who drives forcefully, but straight to mid-off. He picks out Anderson, and there's no run.
Let's see if I can get there. I'll get you more details on that. I've got the scorecard from that game in 1930, and I'll get back to those false shots. England 425 batting first here in 1930. Australia 729 for 6 declared, having collapsed from 585 for 2.
Back with Broad, pavilion behind him, who's in now to bowl to Cummins. And Cummins turns that away, uppishly through back with square leg. Might get 2 here. He will get 2. He's on his way back as Tongue gets the ball and sends the return into Bairstow. 75 for 7.
Yeah, so pretty tidy England bowling. In fact, England in their second innings 375. 6 wickets for the leg spinner Clary Grimmett, and Australia 72 for 3 to win by 7 wickets. So that was the highest score by a team batting first that's gone on to lose on this ground.
Well, it's easy then. England has just got to find a way of getting 700.
Absolutely. Very straightforward. Broad rolls to Cummins. It's full. It's clipped away down towards fine leg.
And who was that
there.
bowler that did the damage? Grimmett, what's it called?
Clary Grimmett.
Who's going to be England's Clary Grimmett?
Oh, well, he was a strange-looking leg spinner. Yeah. So, Jim could tell us a bit more about him. Got a very successful Test career. Strange, not a lot of front arm in his action.
Right, Cummins getting a single from that delivery down towards fine leg, takes him to 5. 376 for 7. So Steve Smith takes strike on 99. England's field, 3 saving, 1 on the off, 3 on the on. Where's he going to find this single? Broad goes in, bowls to Smith, and he dabbles on that one outside the off stump. He got a long way across and played at it, and it went past the edge and through to Bairstow. Smith's going to have to wait a little bit longer because that was the last ball of the over, and it was very much a shot to try to manufacture something to take him to his 100.
Well, he walked outside of off stump because he wanted a straight delivery just to work on the onside, but Stuart Broad followed him, and he actually got the ball to just nip back up the slope. There's certainly movement there.
Well, I think this is going to be the problem for England when they bat.
Yeah.
I feel there's going to be something there for Australia's bowlers. Sometimes when the sun comes out at Lords, and there's a suggestion it might today. The cloud's a bit high. We have seen a bit of sun, but you feel you need a full day. Clouds to go full day of sun. Then the pitch here does seem to play a bit differently, but still think there's going to be something there. Here's Anderson bowling to Cummins, who leans forward. They pinch a single into the offside through extra cover. One more run to the total, and it brings Smith back on strike. Cummins goes to 6. Australia inching up towards that 400. And even if they were to be bowled out for 380, 390 or 393 is what England made in the first innings at Edgbaston, you feel that's just worth a few more. Right, Anderson's going to bowl. He just made a change in the slip cord, and he had 3 slips. Now he's got 2 slips and a 4 slip stroke gully. Anderson bowls to Smith on 99. It's outside the off stump. Smith pushes it away. He's looking for the single there. Cummins backing up, but that was far too close to Stuart Broad at extra cover.
It's amazing, isn't it? A great player, Steve Smith, and he's got 31 Test 100, so he's been there, done it before. He's had a double century here at Lords, and he's still in that kind of, I'm not saying he's panicking, but he's certainly changed his method, being on 99 to what he was doing before.
Now Smith one away, tapping at the crease, bend of the knees. Anderson bowls very full, good delivery, Yorker length, dug out by Smith. Well, that was a good bit of cricket, well bowled from Anderson and well defended by Smith. That temptation to play across the line there and turn it into the onside.
It's just the game, isn't it? It's just one run.
He's been out 4 times in the 90s, including on this ground 4 years ago, out for 92 when he came back in after being hit by Archer.
LBW to Chris Wokes, who was bowling from this end, the nursery end. Anderson bowls to Smith. Smith drives. There it is, through extra cover. It's going for 4. And Smith does it again at Lords. Takes his helmet off, raises back to the dressing room. They're all standing up and applauding. And there was something inevitable about that. He looked so determined yesterday. Skittish start. Then he knuckled down. And England were not budging him. A 32nd Test 100 for Steve Smith. One of the greats turns it on again at Lords.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about yesterday, Simon. There was a focus about him. Struggled at Edgbaston. He wasn't his fluent best. I thought he played a little bit attritionally and offered a little bit too much of a respect to England's bowlers at Edgbaston. Well, yesterday he came out and straight away, he got on top. And what a way to bring up 3 figures. That was a beautiful cover drive.
381 for 7.
Well, bravo, Steve Smith, for his 32nd Test 100 and his 2nd at Lords, and to do it in half time of the footy as well. Welcome back to the Gabba, wasn't it? What? Quentin Hull and the team here, joyful to be able to bring you that news from Lords as we contemplate things here with the Lions. 48 points to the good of the Tigers. Of course, a reminder, ABC Listen App Red Ball Cricket button to keep you with our live cricket if you want to hear it that way, or a lot of you going to the cricket once we finish here at the footy. We'll keep you updated. 32nd Test 100 for SPD Smith, and on the Lords on a board for a second time as the Australians press on day 2 of the Lords Test match. Well, Matt Primus, Jeff White, that's probably saved you going over what you told us in the first half about what the Lions have been doing here. Have you had any thought as to what Richmond can do to change the trend of things here?
Oh, Matty will talk about that, but I wish we had a live cam just to see his Q's reaction when Smith got that 100 then. That was awesome.
It was joyous on all fronts.
What shot was it, Q? You played it beautifully, Mo.
Yeah.
Not like him.
That was very, well, the main thing the Tigers got to do is try and win the ball. They've got to get their hands on the ball through the middle of the ground. Otherwise, nothing else is going to matter. It's got to relieve the pressure on their backs and give their forward some kind of opportunity when it's 6v6 from a centre bounce. Whether they can do that or not, hopefully Brizzy keep the foot on the throat and keep driving home the scoreboard. But that's what Richmond have to do to try and get any semblance of scoreboard.
And not only win the footy, but they're just got to play on. They've got to play with flair. They've got to play with risks. They've got to take the game on. They've got to try and just gain some momentum in this game and get something out of it, because they've shown when they play their quick slingshot footy, they're able to use their hands, they can play some exciting footy and can have some scoreboard pressure.
On the SMS, Pete in Brisbane, who texts, sadly at the game, watching this rabble takes me back to the Jeff Geeshan days. No pressure and even less expectations. Good times, said sarcastically from Pete, who's here at the game. Jazz in Kingston said, Coach Fagan's young Chargers are playing with the heart of a lion, just like Matt Randell did. And, of course, all of our thoughts with family and friends following the Fitzroy captain's untimely death in the lead into this game. Third term's underway.
And it's McInerney who gets the ball down to Taranto for the Tigers, though. He gets the ball back to Baker. Off a step, he kicks it towards the 50. Off hands, it's a contest at ground level. Kadeem Coleman, semi-smothered. Then enter Starcevic, fisted it back towards the corridor. Couldn't be picked up by Nankervis, but it was by Taranto. His handball cut off by McCluggage. He kicks it into the centre of the ground. A good contest from Hipwood in front of Young. He won the ball but then turned it over. Grimes, handball Taranto, who's been involved heavily early. Kicked it long towards the 50 to Taranto. That was beautifully read by Kadeem Coleman in front of Pickett, who looks a little lame sitting inside the arc of 50.
Coleman asked to play on. Elegant left foot pass to Hipwood on the wing. Greets it, marks it without real pressure from behind. It was Tyler Young on him. Hipwood's going to play on around the wing. Saunters a couple of metres and then Young smothers the ball. Well done from the North Albury hopper. Hand pass in ball, picked up by Pickett. Hand pass turned over. Pinched by Fletcher. Hand passed it back to Young. Tigers ball. Gave it to Baker, kick smothered. Brisbane's ball now. McCluggage picks up the crumbs. Short pass, not 15. Bailey had it, got tackled, holding the ball. Smashed in the tackle by Floston, who wins it for Richmond. Kick to the middle of the ground, intercepted by Lester. Beautifully read by Froggy. Roved by McCluggage. Hand pass to McCarthy. Kick to full forward, marked by Archie. 25 metres out, straight in front.
Already at the start of this quarter, there's been 3 smothers. And a couple of knock out of their hands from Brisbane already. So even though Richmond have come with the heat this quarter, just the 1%ers from Brisbane already, it's just been huge. And you're short then, that's why there was a turnover. That's why the guys were on goal side.
Struggled to get into the top 22. Cal Archie subbed a few times. This is his 3rd game of the year and he blasts it through for Brisbane's 10th goal. They start the second half as they finished the first. Lions 10-7, 67. Tigers 1-7, 13, 54 the difference.
Outstanding by Lester. He came 20 metres off his man to read that kick, which takes a bit of courage because if he doesn't get there in time, he's going to get scored against. But air assist and then play on quickly. Beautiful inside 50.
And it's more than just this little moment, but we spoke at the opening of the game about hunger. Yep. Ryan Lester, Cal Archie, 2 journeymen who are battling to even get in the team, let alone contemplate another September campaign. Those little things of what the Lions have got going for them, and well, of course that's the problem if you've been to the mountain a couple of times and to the top of it. Zane?
Yeah, it's a 9-goal lead, but there's some positivity for Richmond. Noah Cumberland is on the bench. It looks like he's going to be able to resume the game, and that's very positive after what we saw just prior to half-time.
Game high, 54-point margin in favour of the Lions. Could get worse. Clearance. McLuggage, handball forward. Cut off there by Cochin. He was tackled and he let loose the ball to Taranto, who turned it over. McLuggage involved again. He got tackled by Baker. The ball's pinging around inside the centre circles. Now it's with Lockneil. Handball back to McCarthy. Inside 50. Off the hands of Broad. Rove by Eric Hipwood, who threw the ball out. Now Young. Indiscriminate handball, cut off there by Berry. Handball to Bailey, got around his opponent, slipped over, handball to McCluggage. He wheels around from 45. Hugh kicks it towards the left forward pocket, across the face of goal. It was tracked back there by Jack Ross. Good defensive mark for the Tigers.
Going to play on from the right back pocket, and again a long kick to a contest for the Tigers. Right half back, it comes to Decon, head of the pack, and off hands out of play.
They've done that a lot tonight, haven't they?
No thought of really trying to run it and move it.
But then when
a
it
lot
gets
of occasions, Whitey.
But when it gets that contest, when it hits the ground, they're not winning it.
Yeah, the clearances, 26-13, Brisbane's way. Double. Boundary throw in. And Curvis roves his own crumb. That's a clearance all to the big neck. Hands it off to Baker. Kick over the boundary line. No intent, according to the ump. Free kick, Brisbane. Starcevic to take it. Out on the Stanley Street side of the ground. Called to play on. He roosts it. High towards a packet, attacking 50. Bolto in a pack of 5 or 6. Got his hands high, couldn't mark. Taranto roves. Kick is smothered. Picked up by McInerney. Hand pass is spiked away, but only to Lester of Brisbane from 70 off a step. Thumps the lines back to full forward. Danaher leaps, got a hand, couldn't mark. Rove by Rioli. Hand pass to Vlosten. Hand pass puts McIntosh under pressure. Berry is company. McIntosh, though, taps it cleverly to Rioli. Hands it off to Graham. Graham's kick does get Richmond clear for the time being to the wing. Andrews punches it away from Miller, but it ricochets back to him. Tigers ball. Hand pass gets to McIntosh. It's attritional for the Tigers, but they've worked beyond halfway. McIntosh hand passes to Cochin. He finds space. He's got class. He hits Miller 40 out. Marks plays on and slots it to Hopper. 35 out directly in front. That was heavy lifting stuff, but they got there.
They did get there. They're able to keep the ball flowing, which is probably the first time tonight they've been able to keep it flowing from one end of the ground right down to the other. And it took Cochin's beautiful kick back inside the ground to be able to keep that going.
So Jacob Hopper from Leeton Witten, who were the Crows, they used to be the Witten Yanko Tigers. There you go. So he's known this strip, well, probably the merger was well before he was born. Anyway, Hopper's kicked a goal for the Tigers at the Gabba. Just their second of the night. The new Richmond number 22 scores just their second goal of the night. 2 goals, 7-19. Trails 10-7, 67. 48 points is the margin. Zane Bojack.
Yeah, all the Brisbane Lion medicos are surrounding Josh Dunkley at the moment. Looks like he's got a problem in behind his knee on his right side. It's tightness of some kind. If I'm Chris Fagan, you don't risk him, just get him off.
Well, that's some expensive cattle and some valuable cattle that you don't want to be messing around with here. He's got a soft tissue, even a slight issue.
By the way, Whitey, the Leeton part was, they were the Redlegs, they were the Demons before they merged.
Oh, there you go.
Leeton merged with Witten Yanko. Demons and Tigers became the Crows.
Demons and Tigers become the Crows.
Yep, there you go.
There you go.
Bit of
what do you get?
Riverina football encyclopedia. There you go.
We're back into the middle here at the Gabba. It's the Lions by 48, and the umpire's going to recall that bounce. It went sideways.
I wonder how you get the Crows out of that.
Oh, I think they were new into the competition and they just needed a playing strip to play under.
Yep.
Maybe the colours mixed.
A little bit of everything.
Red, blue, yellow.
Yep.
Yeah.
McInerney versus Nankervis. Straight into the arms there of Taranto. Got the handball back to Hopper. The two former Giants as Hopper kicks it forward. It's cut off by Kadeem Coleman. Immediately a 40-metre kick across the half-back line. Fires Ryan Lester. The run comes from Starcevic. Gathers. Nice kick into the path of Hipwood. Pushed in the back. Surely. Yeah, Tyler Young. Pushed into the back of Eric Hipwood. Takes the free kick on the logo. The left footer is lovely. It was into the path of the lead of Rayner, but it was cut off there by Dev Robertson. Gave the handball off to Rayner from 50. Off one step. Cam Rayner to the goal line. And Curvis got a fingernail to it. One behind. 68 plays 19. 49-point margin. 7 gone third term ABC Sport.
As Vlosten quickly runs beyond the goal mouth and kicks it to his old mate McIntosh. Good kick. despite Berry's late arrival. Mark to Camden McIntosh. Beyond defensive 50 at left half-back. Plays on with his right boot. Drives it to a contest on the wing. Andrews gets to the front. Despite being manhandled by Revolt, still took the mark. He is back to his All-Australian form this year, Harris Andrews. Really looking good. He played injured the back half of last year. Kicks the ball around the wing. Danaher plays for a free kick and gets it. Oh, anyone buying? Yep. Umpire was there.
The only person
Joe leapt in the air. Oh, didn't get a run at it, sir. There were 2 Tigers in the contest, and now the ball's not given back to him. He wants 50 as well after getting a softie. No. All part of the theatre of the football. Danaher has 2 goals already tonight. Can't kick a goal even for Heat from there. 70 out. Chips it to full forward in a pack. Bolter's knuckle clears the congestion. Oh, he's hit it straight to Ashcroft. Roves at 40 out. Has a snap. And can't curl it back enough. A behind for Will Ashcroft. Brisbane by 50 points. 69 plays 19. 8 minutes, third term.
Just no balance there from Richmond, even with that spoil, even though it was 20, 30 metres. There was 3 or 4 Lions players lining up.
Bolter plays on quickly. Goes for a bit of a trot down the outer side. The handball there to Nathan Broad. Long kick towards the wing. Once again, Harris Andrews. The timely fist in there. Got it to ground level. Ashcroft handball cut off by Pickett. And then Ashcroft reciprocated by dumping Pickett into the ground with the ball. Umpire says he'll hold it up and we'll have a ball up or throw up on the outer side. McInerney versus Nankervis again. Nankervis wins this one into the path of Jack Ross. Tumbling kick towards the arc of 50. Contest. Rewalt wants a free kick. Tackled by Coleman. Ball spills out. Now the Lions with numbers. Starcevic. Berry by hand with Bailey. The strength and the pace down the outer side. And a long tumbling kick into the path of Charlie Cameron. No, cut off by Nathan Broad, who's sparked to life in this third term.
Broad and Floston, haven't they done heaps of it? Broad chips to Floston. Floston kicks the half-back for Bolter. Has a bounce along the edge of the centre square. Ham passes to Ralph Smith. The locks flow. He has a bounce and chips inside 50. Looking for Miller. For Young, it's chipped off. No, he was looking for Miller. Chipped off by Neil of Brisbane. His kick is turned over as well. Judson Clark marks 60 out and then kicks it out on the full.
30 all.
Out on the full, free kick Brisbane in the right back pocket to be taken by McKenna. Zane?
Yeah, Josh Dunkley has been drinking pickle juice and they've done a lot of work just to that right calf. I think it might be cramp rather than tissue injury, but yeah, they're still continuing to work on him.
Is that cramp from the pickle juice? It's a long kick from Leicester. Back, shorter centre wing. Oscar McInerney in front of Samson Ryan takes a nice single grab mark and then goes across the half-back line to Kitty Coleman. He wheels around onto the left foot, predictably long. Flares to the outer side. Pickett made it a good contest in front of Leicester, but Leicester backed up. Handball to Andrews, back to Leicester, who then goes around the chaser of Young. The handball now to Starcevic. He lowers the eyes. Nice kick. Nice lead from Hipwood, who's coming into some kind of form. He wheels around, and Hipwood's kick is delightful. Onto the chest of Rayner, 45 out. The lead from Cameron, and Rayner finds Cameron. Nice mark, 35 out. And he's on a very tight angle. He's facing back inboard, though, Charlie Cameron, with his back to the boundary line.
Beautiful 45-degree running there from Rayner. He actually went up to when Hipwood got that mark and then ducked back for that 45. So smart running, good connection there.
Cameron plays on, curls it around with the right foot, gets his second and does what Charlie does. 11 goals for the Lions now. 11-9, 75. Plays 2-7-19. And we're out to a 56-point margin, 12 gone third term.
I saw earlier when he kicked his first, that was his 250th goal in the Brisbane Lions jersey. I'm not sure where that would put him, but that would put him, obviously John O'Brien and Lynchy and probably one of our fellow commentators, Aka, would be up there, but he'd be pushing not far behind those guys there. He's had a tremendous career in front of goal for the Lions.
I love the movement there from the Lions. They just lower their eyes, lead up, wheel and go. And it's also that ability just to be predictable for one another. You know that Hipwood's a left footer, so where Rayner led to was his left side. He wasn't cutting back into the middle. He knew he had to lead to the wing.
It's incredible work from Chuckles Cameron there anyway.
That puts him in the top 6 now. Passes Michael Voss 245, Rog Merritt 285. Jay Brown, 5.94 leading the way. Centre clearance to Brisbane yet again. Danaher kicks to half forward. Archie juggles, can't mark, met by Rayner. Boy, he looks like he's up for it tonight. Weaves left and right, gets on his right boot. Chip inside 50, intercepted by the Richmond defence, but Rayner comes through again. Won the footy, hand pass from Hipwood, back to Rayner. He's done it all. How's the finish? Misses to the left.
Outstanding. Just the will to win the ball and be involved.
Made the cake, couldn't find the cherry on top of it.
Yep.
Brisbane 11-10-76, Richmond 2-7-19.
Game high 57-point margin as the ball gets kicked out to the outer side. Cut off by Ashcroft. Back inside 50. Kalachi. 40 out, 45-degree angle to the left. He'll go back and have another shot at goal for the Lions.
Yeah, even though the two key backs then spoiled each other, just the want to both come and affect the contest, that's what Brisbane have been like all night. Really strong in the contest and then destroyed Richmond on the ground.
Kicked his first goal of the year earlier on in the game, the second term.
Earlier this quarter,
sorry.
Yep.
But Kalachi from 45 strikes it nicely, leans back on it though, and it fades to the right. So it's another behind for Brisbane, 11-11-77 to 2-7-19. 58 points the margin. Zane Bojak's on the boundary.
Yeah, I can tell you, Ryan Lester ran straight up to his skip and said, "Sorry, Harris, I apologise for that. I should have let you have that intercept mark."
Another long inbound to a pack on the wing, off hands. Taranto Rose tackled by Andrews, ball to the foot of the pack. Dunkley is locked up. Can't get rid of it, and the umpire comes in. Hopper making the tackle. Ball thrown in the air. It's Ryan battling with Danaher. Ryan won that tap down to Hopper. Hand pass though stolen by McCluggage. Swung as he got a hand pass clear to no great effect. Ricochet to Clark of the Tigers. Hand passes to Hopper. Rush kick inside 50. Bursts off the chest of Cumberland and into the hands of Starcevic for Brisbane. Comes away with a kick to the wing. Cameron the target. Spoiled away by his old mate Grimes. They're reacquainting themselves at the Gabba. Grimes hand passes to the wing for Broad. Cameron chases him. Made him pay. Holding the ball. Play on advantage. Brisbane take it as McCluggage gives to Cameron. Has one bounce on the wing. Kicks it deep where he usually is in his paddock. It's Archie this time. Brings it to his own advantage at the spoil. Hands it to McCarthy. McCarthy's chipped to Danaher in the pocket. And Danaher marks it near the behind post. And just as the Tigers were flowing their way, Brisbane burned them going the other.
Yeah, great chase by Cameron, was it? Just got a hold of his jumper and the Richmond player bounced the ball. Got done holding the ball and a beautiful counter-attack off there. They were just toying with them with their skill level then, Brizzy.
Danaher's already got a couple. 2 steps infield, left foot, snap. Didn't hit the right part of the footy. Not enough hook on it. A point. 59 the difference as Steve Smith has been dismissed. Ben Duckett taking a catch in the gully off the bowling of Tongue. And Smith is out for 110. Australia 8 for 393.
Building your cricket score here too at the Gabba as the Tigers exit defence and go long down the outer side. Lions with the numbers though at ground level, taking it a little bit too laconically there. Connor McKenna buffeted off the ball. Tigers went out. Shai Bolton now picks it up. It's been a difficult night for the superstar. He's tackled the ball, lets loose towards the outer side. Pickett now, his handball towards the boundary line. Gabba crowd, I don't know what they were asking for. The ball's going to get thrown in anyway. Perhaps they thought it was deliberate. It's going to be 40 metres out in the right forward pocket for the Tigers. Crowd a little bit restless. They've been thoroughly entertained. Well, if you're a Lions fan, you'd be entertained with the scoreline.
Well, it's been one of the rivalries that has defined particularly Brisbane's rise over the last couple of years. For so long, Richmond had that winning streak against them, won 15 in a row between 2010 and that qualifying final of the COVID hit season in 2020. Even last year, Tigers won a close one at the MCG late in the season. Brisbane won a controversial elimination final here. It's been tight. They've been some of the better games across the journey, but the Lions are flogging them tonight.
The hold-ups, Brandon Starcevic just gone off with the blood rule.
So boundary throw in, Richmond in attack. 59 points is the lead to the Lions. Danaher over the top of Nankervis, but Big Nank picks up hand pass. Bolton tries to get it, does get it, burst clear of the stoppage, dinks the kick, clever to Rioli. Yeah, smart play. Just buzzed out of the contest and found some space and put it to the advantage of Dan Rioli. We'll go back and have a shot from 50 men on the mark, 45 out.
One name we haven't called too much tonight, Bolton, 12 touches, but I reckon I've felt like I've seen him about 3 or 4 times get his hands on the ball. He's so brilliant when he does get the ball in his hands, but haven't seen too much of him tonight.
Runner-up in the best and fairest last year, Daniel Rioli. Richmond need a goal here, 49 out. Right foot kick is a thing of beauty. Beautifully struck. Great flight path. Through she goes, half post height. Richmond's third goal, 53 is the difference. Brisbane 11-12, 78 to Richmond's 3-7-25.
Even though the last two goals, I've just watched the celebration from the Tigers players, Hopper and Rioli then. Just the energy's still there. They're still getting around each other, even though they're getting belted at the moment. It just shows good teammanship. Sometimes you can go on your shell, can't you, Matty?
Yeah,
you're getting belted by heaps and you're playing away, but they're just really good signs there. I like seeing that. Even though, Tigers fans, I know you're probably furious right now that they're not winning the match, but I really like seeing that. Really like seeing that energy, even though they're getting belted.
That's what set Richmond apart the last 4 or 5 years, isn't it? That team aspect there, they've had that more than anyone. And you're right, Whitey. They've still shown that in this quarter here when they've kicked a couple of goals.
So we're back into the middle with the Lions leading by 53 points. They'll win this clearance too through McInerney. Sweeping 30-metre handball that landed in the arc, if you don't mind. Ball bounces freely, though, for the Tigers. It's picked up there by Bolter. He chips forward, and it's Jack Graham trying to control it. He does. Handball backwards to Judson Clark to the run of Bolter again. He chips it to the logo, finds Cochin. 301 games of AFL footy now. He goes for the 45-degree kick. Baker found him. Baker could have got a high shot, but now it's holding the ball. If you didn't pay the high shot, you're gone. So Liam Baker will give away the free kick. It was a nice tackle from the Brownlow medalist in Lockneil. Slows things down and does some traffic direction and then plays on. Wheels it round with the right foot to right half forward. Bolter read it beautifully as Vlosten held Danaher down.
Runs away from half-back, kicks to half-forward and numbers. Marked by Pickett. He had Ryan with him. Pickett too far out to score on the left half-forward flank. He's got a support running from behind Rioli. Chips it to him. Rioli marks 60 metres out. Perhaps just beyond his range. And now a busy forward 50. Jack Revolt's leading. He's not seen it tonight, Jack Revolt. He's down for 4 touches. Rioli chips it to the corridor. Good kick. Space for Hopper. Hopper marks 30 metres out. Poor Brisbane defence there.
Yeah, they just got back too deep. They allowed that 45 to 35 metres a bit open, and that's where Hopper's able to. Smart by Rioli though. He teased that long kick really well and hit short.
Chance to become the Tigers' first multiple goal kicker. Jacob Hopper settling in at punt road, former Giant. Not much of an angle to speak of. 40 metres out, right foot strike. Pretty good looking kick. It's another goal for the Tigers. They've got back-to-back goals. And stemming the flow a little at the Gabba, 47 points the margin. Brisbane 11-12, 78. Richmond 4-7, 31. Quentin Hull, Michael Price, Matt Primus, Jeff White, Zane Bojack, your company on Grandstand AFL through ABC Sport. It's Brisbane, 21 minutes into the third term, leading by 47 points.
I like what Bolter did then too.
Yep.
Intercept mark, play on, but then hit it short.
Yeah, short kick, yeah.
Kick it long.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And they're actually getting their hands on the ball, as we said at half-time. A few of their mids are starting to get some good numbers. The clearances and contested possession are equal for this quarter. And so a bit of the fire's gone out for Brizzy, but also Richmond lifted. But I'll tell you where the fire hasn't gone out. They went to the coach's box, and Fags he's still riding every kick, mark and handball out there. So I'm sure the message at three-quarter time will be, hey, we've taken our foot off a little bit. Let's get this going back our way again.
Inside 50 is getting closer, 45-29 still in favour of Brisbane, and the clearances 28-18 as they win another one, make that 29-18. Dunkley now kicks it inside 50 from the hands of Archie. He goes back, has another crack at the ball. His handball cut off by Rioli, gave it to Ralph Smith, then to Hopper. In traffic, his kick's cut off by Kadeem Coleman. Marks it on the logo on the Stanley Street wing, plays on with the left foot. Neil favoured by the kick, then McCarthy flew. Rove by Rayner. Handball there to the run of Jared Berry. Has a ping. It's the post, one behind. 79 plays 31. It is a 48-point ball game yet again. 22.5 gone, third term. Grandstand AFL.
And again, Bolter, I have to look at his metres gained in a moment. He's booting every kick about 60 metres long to the wing. Off hands, rove by Baker, tackled immediately by Lester, no prior, ball up.
600 metres, Q, Neil.
Yeah, wow. And beyond.
Just gone over it, 642.
642 metres.
Game high.
Next best in the game is Connor McKenna's 425. But he's roosting it long tonight, Noah Bolter. Stoppage clearance to Neil. Tackle by Nankervis holding the ball. Illegal disposal from Neil. Good tackle, big Nank. He's got the stylish ruckman shin pads. What a statement they are, Whitey and Matt. Kick out towards the wing. Very wide on the flare there. Illegal spoil from Archie. Gives Young a free kick. Young plays on quickly. Chips to Floston. Marks it true centre wing on the outer side. Around 30,000 fans in the house for Thursday night footy. They keep turning up here and the Lions keep winning here. Most of the time of recent times. Floston kicks to half forward. Revolt flies, can't mark. Dunkley rose for Brisbane. Here they go off half back. Hand pass Ashcroft, hand cross Neil. Hand pass Ashcroft, run to the middle given to McCarthy, who is not as quick as the aforementioned. And he is tackled by Baker.
Great tackle. They have three.
Actually, it's Floston, free kick.
They had three flowing inside forward 50 then the Lions.
Yep,
Boston again.
Open chance, but
you don't put your slowest man on the anchor leg of the relay.
And open next to the boundary, Shy Bolton's taking the ball over there. The umpire's going to call it back and we'll get a throw in about 70 metres from goal at right half forward.
It's like Green, Bolt, Bolden, Hull.
I'll drop the baton.
The throw in. McInerney won the tap out. McCluggage dances through traffic a little easier for mine. Kicks it to the wing. Danaher gets rid of Bolter. The ball lands. Archie gathers. Gives it to Ashcroft. To McCarthy. Chips it to Danaher, who ran on inside 50. He wheels around onto the left. He's played on. Jasper Fletcher is set a task against Jack Graham. It's the youngster versus the veteran. They both keep their feet, and then the veteran tucks the ball underneath Fletcher, appeals for the free kick. Umpire says we'll ball it up about 35 out on a very tight angle towards the boundary line in the right forward pocket for Brisbane.
Meanwhile, Australia's reached 400. 8 for 400. Boundary, or stoppage near the boundary in the right forward pocket. Second fist in's the telling one. Floston clears the congestion, went to Dunkley, tackled off it by Taranto. Falls to Ross, hand pass to Ranto, hand pass to Rioli, who runs to half back, and a wide chip to McIntosh. Tigers get it beyond defensive 50. McIntosh at right half back. Wheels inboard immediately. Kicks it to the middle of the ground looking for Hopper. Stolen by Archie. Great front on spoil. He robes his own crumb for Brisbane. Kicks to half forward and Berry marks. Holds up. Now chips over the man on the mark to Danaher, who's in Joe range. Marks 55 out. Rolls to 40. This is his type of stuff. And Joe delivers at the Gabba yet again. When he had a moment to gallop, the crowd at the Gabba just leant forward in their seats anticipating, and Joe doesn't let them down. He's got 3. Brisbane 12-13-85 to Richmond's 4-7-31. Zane Bojack on the boundary.
Yeah, look, it's not the night for Richmond, and look, certainly injuries have taken their toll as Danaher comes off for a rest along with Will Ashcroft. Marlon Pickett, brave from him. He's still complaining to trainers about his wrist, but he continues to go back out there and try his best. So there's no doubt if Jaden Short hadn't really come off, I don't think he'd continue playing, but he's trying his best, as are the Tigers. But Danaher, 2 good, 3 goals.
Enjoying his night again, Joe. As we go back into the middle of the Gabba, Nankervis rises high above McInerney. He belts it forward, but the Lions cut it off yet again. Neil to Dunkley. They love the sound of that. He flares it out to the right wing, finds Fletcher. Back inboard, little 45-degree kick to find McCluggage now with his 26th disposal. He kicks it into the path of McCarthy. That's a really strong mark taken in front of Nathan Broad, who was all over him. McCarthy, 70 from goal.
Big O's got a mismatch in the goal square.
He kicks it in that direction, Matty Primus. The big fly at the back. It went through hands. Bailey and Bolter. Oh, Bolter, the big man, took off. Oh, he got his capabilities mixed up, had a bounce and lost it. Now the Lions have it through Lockneil. 45 metres out, and he absolutely nails it. Noah Bolter looks back and regrets what might have been his first goal, and the Lions get their 13th, 13-13-91. Plays 4-7-31, a game high 60 points, 10 even goals with 28 gone third term. I thought Bolter did beautifully then, but just got capabilities and expectations mixed up.
You're right. You've got to slow down a little bit, and it's probably a little bit dewy out there now. Cold night up here in Brizzy, well, for Brizzy standards anyway, so the ball would have slid a little bit, and he wasn't used to that. The right option, but you're right. They came back right in his face down there off Lockie Neal. But beautiful finish.
Yeah, but the message is he won the contested footy. Just keep attacking.
Zane?
To make his night worse, Bolter's just come all the way to the interchange gates, and Dan Rioli said, "No, go back, mate. You're not supposed to be a sub." And he was not happy, I can tell you.
10 goals the margin. About 90 seconds of playing time left in the third term. It's been the Lions' night at the Gabba. McInerney with a 30-metre fist to half forward at the stoppage. Young meets it for Richmond. He's tackled by Archie. No prior ball up.
Archie's done a couple of nice things tonight, Q, hasn't he? He did that one to Danaher before. He's pressured hard there. He's done some good things as a forward.
Yeah, played that role a lot at the Suns. Never really used as a forward for Brisbane. McCluggage under the stoppage. Spearing pass hits the lead of Hipwood. Goes to his knees. Slides along the dewy turf. Hugs the Sherrin to the gold line on his chest. Marks 30 metres out.
Really straightened themselves up, the Lions. There was a little bit patch there in the middle of this quarter where felt like the Tigers were getting a little bit of momentum. They were owning parts of the ground and getting some scoreboard pressure, but they've really finished it off well now, the Lions.
Eric Hipwood's night. 1 goal, 2. Makes it 27 goals for the season. These are the ones that key forwards need to kick at any stage. 35 out, straight in front, bread and butter stuff. And Hipwood makes it 11 goals the difference. Game high. 66 points the difference. 14-13, 97 to 4-7-31. What do you made of Eric Hipwood's progress this year, gentlemen?
For me, I think he's bounced, his second year after the knee reco. That's when you get back to playing your normal style of footy. And I reckon he's had a year that he was doing before he went down with that knee injury. And the forward line's changed a bit since he was out there. And he's had some pretty big games. And he's probably last month he's been his best footy for some time. But I'll tell you who is going well, McCluggage, who kicked that beautiful kick through.
That was a great kick.
27 touches, 4 clearances, 5 inside 50s. He's having a night out tonight.
The footage from behind, it was Hipwood on the left, and then they had Cameron on the right. So if it was coming out either end, they were going to get it no matter what.
And it looks like it might be coming back again. McCluggage with yet another clearance. He kicks it towards a commentary wing. It was a beautifully weighted kick there, Whitey. Jasper Fletcher was the recipient. He gives the handball to Kitty Coleman. Dangerous, but it worked. Then the outside of the right shoe, inside 50. Link McCarthy with the stretch. And I mean the stretch. He was a metre in the air and a metre backwards, arching to grab that ball. 30 out, 45-degree angle to the right. What a great vertical jump from Link. As the siren goes and the Lions fans very pleased with Thursday night's work so far. Link McCarthy has the 1 goal. Usually a very accurate kick for goal. From just inside 50, he launches an arrow, his second, and the Lions crack 100 by three-quarter time. 15-13, 103. Murdering the Tigers, 4-7-31 at three-quarter time. It is a game-high 72 points after they led by 48 at half-time and 21 at quarter time. It just gets worse for the Tigers.
And the rundown looks like this. Danaher with 3, 2 for McCarthy, 2 for Cameron, 2 for Hipwood. Singles for Archie, Berry, Neal, McKenna, Bailey and Wilmot. And for Richmond, 2 for Hopper, singles for Short and Rioli. Nathan Lyon's just been dismissed for 7 at Lords. Australia is 9 for 408. That after Stephen Smith reached his 32nd Test century a little bit earlier on. ABC Listen app, red cricket ball button to hear it now. Many of you going to the cricket once we finish at the footy. Pat Cummins unbeaten on 18, but the wickets to fall today with Australia resuming at 5 for 339. Carey resumed on 11, was out for 22.
Stark made 6. Steve Smith started 85 not out, got to 110 before he sliced Josh Chung to Ben Duckett in the gully. Smith out for, as I said, 110, his 32nd Test century and his second at Lords. Cummins 18 not out. Lyon just dismissed for 7. And Australia 9 for 408. NRL this evening getting late on there. And the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks are serving up to the St George Illawarra Dragons in the Southern Sydney Derby. The Sharks 40 leading the Dragons 16. Sharks 40, Dragons 16. Here it is a 12-goal margin in favour of Brisbane at three-quarter time. Lions 15-13, 103 to the Tigers 4-7-31. More to come from the Gabba on Grandstand AFL.
For exclusive access to extraordinary people, stream great chats on ABC iView.
I wanted to meet you for so long. Yeah, me too.
With intimate interviews from Louis Theroux and ABC of.
Have you said anything that you've regretted?
Emotional insights on Take 5 with Zan Rowe.
How old were you when your father died?
And probing questions in Stuff the British Stole.
How on earth did you find this?
Great chats and fascinating facts whenever you like. Stream it all for free on ABC iView.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Smashed in the tackle by Floston, who wins it for Richmond. Kicked in the middle of the ground, intercepted by Leicester. Beautifully read by Froggy. Drove by McCluggage. Hand pass to McCarthy. Kicked a ball forward, marked by Archie. 25 metres out straight in front. Third game of the year, and he blasts it through for Brisbane's 10th goal. They start the second half as they finished the first. Hoppers kicked a goal for the Tigers at the gap. Just their second of the night.
Cameron plays on, curls it around with the right foot, gets his second and does what Charlie does.
Jacob Hopper settling in at punt road, former Giant. Not much of an angle to speak of. 40 metres out, right foot strike. Pretty good looking kick. It's another goal for the Tigers. They've got back-to-back goals. Now chips over the man on the mark to Danaher, who's in Joe range. Marks 55 out, rolls to 40. This is his type of stuff. And Joe delivers at the Gabba yet again. Eric Hipwood's nights. 1 goal, 2. These are the ones that key forwards need to kick at any stage. 35 out, straight in front. Bread and butter stuff. And Hipwood makes it 11 goals the difference. Game high.
Jasper Fletcher was their recipient. He gives the handball to Kitty Coleman. Dangerous, but it worked. Then the outside of the right shoe, inside 50. Link McCarthy with the stretch. And I mean the stretch. He was a metre in the air and a metre backwards, arching to grab that ball. 30 out, 45-degree angle to the right. From just inside 50, he launches an arrow. His second, and the Lions crack 100 by three-quarter time.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
72 points the margin in favour of Brisbane at three-quarter time. Welcome back to the Gabba. Quentin Hull and the team in place. Matt Primus, Jeff White. I think the question of the night now turns to Richmond. Brisbane doing the job, keeping the pressure on the top two. But this Richmond style under Andrew McQualter has worked for the last 3 weeks. Sure, they're back off the bye, and we know that statistically hasn't been good playing against teams that have played the previous week. But what have you seen tonight? Because there are Tigers fans wondering, is this an aberration, or is this any faint hope of pressing through to the top 8 starting to unravel?
I would think their run home, they've got some of the better teams in their run home. And they're missing too many key players. You know, Prestia and Martin out of their midfield. Obviously Tom Lynch up in their forward line. So, but saying that, Brisbane have set up beautifully, Whitey, to take away their style of play. We just saw a stat come up on the TV. 11 goals off the turnover Brisbane to kick. Normally, Richmond dominate that area, but Brisbane have made them pay by their pressure on the ball. If they've tried their forward handballs or their short kicking or their 45s, they've just picked them off at will and scored at will when they've gone back in their face there. So the game plan is a little bit off. You're not going to be able to change that this year. He's got to continue with that. That's all they know. And then whoever the coach is next year will probably tinker with that a little bit, but certainly Brisbane have taken full advantage of that style of play tonight.
Yeah, and just to elaborate and just to extend on that, their ability to go from attack to defence from the Lions has been really impressive. So hasn't allowed the Tigers to actually get that running game going.
So we're back into the middle.
15-5 in the centre bounce so far. Pricey it's been.
72 points the margin that's equated to. And there's another win for the Big O there. He got it into the path of Rayner, but he overran it, did Rayner. Picked up by Bailey. Off a step, he kicks it to the arc of 50 broad. That's a really courageous mark. He knew what was coming too.
He's been terrific tonight.
It's been fantastic. That's his 20th disposal. 6 marks and 4 contested possessions in that. He chips forward now. He's got the run of Baker, who's tried his hardest as well, but they've been contained everywhere, the Tigers. You can see Dev Robertson standing the mark there, just all over Liam Baker, not giving him any room as he kicks long down to left half forward. Harris Andrews fists it back into the corridor. Ashcroft, the run of Neil, receives the handball. Under pressure, his kick's a scrubby one that's cut off by Pickett at the half-back line.
Beautiful gather and evasion to find some space. Kicks across the half-back line. Floston marks, plays on, kicks high, looking for Cumberland on the wing. Gets to the drop and takes the mark for Richmond. Looking forward. Fakes the handball, then gives the handball to Bolter, who's roaming at right half forward. And again, a booming kick long towards the goal mouth. Young's got 3 to beat. Fisted away from him by Berry. No, it was Miller, my apologies. Miller down there deep. Punched the way through for a point. 71 the difference, 103-32.
No, Bolter made his game watch, so it's 736 minutes.
Might get to 1,000 by the end of the game. Whitey, the way, because he had to lower his eyes then, but
he
obviously doesn't have that too much in his game, and he loves the long kick.
He'll get the David Radisha, that's for sure. 800 looms.
Darcy Wilmot exits the 50 with a handball to Starcevic at left half back. He tried to pinpoint a kick there to Danaher. Bolter got in his way though. Fisted it down to ground level. Ashcroft picks it up on the logo. Tackled by Baker, slung into the ground. Umpire says no. Now the ball's in the hands of Ross. Ross now to Bolter. 10 metres forward. Handball. Gets to Cumberland. Has a bounce. Cuts back in. And that's I thought it was going to be a good pass, but it was cut off there by Brisbane. Could be another free kick to Wilmot as he handballs forward. Was held. Gave it to Lester. He went around in a circle and kicked it back towards the boundary line. Charlie Cameron got there first. With speed in front of Broad. He's got Danaher leading down the line. He's got Rayner, but he chooses Danaher. 25 metres forward. About still just forward of centre wing, but he's standing on the boundary line as we speak, and not a lot of movement in front of him.
So he kicks it backwards to Connor McKenna, who's played every game since being recruited to Brisbane. 15 Lions in that group. Short chip to Neil, who's also in that group of having fronted for every occasion throughout the season. Chips wide to Dana. Now here's the launch. Long kick to full forward and a pack. Rayner. Oh, from behind he got a good hand. Couldn't take the mark. Rove by Grimes. Hand pass to Bolter. Hand pass from Taranto to Baker. Richmond out. Runs the half back. Chips it to Revolt. Gets a touch at right half back. The champ forward kicks it around the wing. In front of Rioli. Tries to fist it to stay in play, but he can't out of play. Boundary throw in. Zane.
Yeah, I caught the gaze of Andrew McWalter as he's making his way off the boundary line, and he had a look of resignation on his face as he looked at me, but all he's asked them to do is to compete. He wants his Tigers to compete. It's tough being an interim coach, isn't it?
Yeah, throw in front of the commentary box. Hopper gets in front of Bailey, gets the ball backwards now to Baker, then back to Bolton. Under a bit of pressure, he curls it to a 2-on-1. Starcevic nudged underneath it there by Rewalt. Ball spills in Starcevic's direction, though. He launches one and Bolter approaches. Takes a nice strong mark, this time above his teammate in Vlosten. He chips it back towards Vlosten now, on the wing. Runs along the boundary line. Hugs the line with the kick. Jack Payne tracks it. Spoils it to ground level. Wilmot. Then Lester. Back to Payne, who then kicks it 20 metres forward down the throat of Bolton. But he plays for Richmond. Richmond now through Bolton. Kicks it now to Jack Ross on the boundary. 70 from goal. Jack Ross plays on. Kicks it to a dangerous area. Cumberland had a path cleared for him. Takes the mark. 25 metres out, more or less directly in front.
Yeah, he's got some forward craft, Cumberland. You can see why they like him in their forward line. You can also see why he comes in and out of the team. When they lost the ball before with his poor kick, he just gave up and didn't empty out as a forward and help out in team defence. But he certainly has some forward craft and gives himself some shots on goal.
They came through Maroochydore, through Brisbane's team, and Richmond pinched it out of this backyard. Noah Cumberland now gets the goal for the Tigers. 5 minutes into the final term and gets them back to within 11 goals. 15-11, 103 plays 5-8-38. That margin is now 65 points.
Well, we're just seeing up here on the stats, Dunkley, as Whitey mentioned out in the red there.
Yeah.
Darcy Fort's been brought into the game. He's now...
A tweet from the Lions says that Dunkley's all right. So
just managing, and the scoreboard's in your way as much as it has been. It's
maybe he walked up to Fags and said, "I'm tired, I need a rest."
That's an excellent asterisk to the information coming out of that place at times. By the way, Australia's all out. All outs at Lord's, 416.
Poms chase that down today.
Well, maybe by tea. Sit up for a bit of Bazball on the radio later on. Boundary, centre stoppage. Clearance Brisbane out the back. Neil hands to McKenna, hands back to Neil. They're at centre half back. Neil chips it wide to the wing, marked by McCluggage. Time for Brisbane to do all of this. They just seem to have been so clean in moving the ball tonight. McCluggage to Fletcher, who marks. Hand pass to McKenna. Hand passes options everywhere. Ashcroft 60 out. Right foot kick on the head of Fort. The sub couldn't take the mark. Crashing through, Grimes wins it for Richmond in the last line of defence. Hands it to Nankervis, tackled. His kick's a mongrel, stolen by Bailey. Nankervis was under pressure and swung by the tackle of Ford as he kicked it. And Zach Bailey's the beneficiary, marking 30 metres out.
Well, Q, that's now 17-5 in the centre bounce. And I think they've only scored one goal from the centre bounce, but that has just given them territory. If they haven't scored, they've created a lot of turnovers, and that's just set up their whole game. 17-5 is an absolute belting.
If you haven't seen a picture of a side still climbing the mountain and one going down the other side, well, you haven't been watching the 3 quarters and a bit at the Gabba tonight. It's simple terms, but that's what we're seeing as Bailey kicks another goal for Brisbane. And the margin is 71 yet again. These two teams having provided some fantastic contests over the last couple of years. Admittedly, Martin laid out, Lynch still injured, no Prestia. But 71 the difference has been breathing space the Lions could not have dreamed of against Richmond in recent years, Matt White and Jeff Primus.
That worked.
Matt Primus.
That's a combination. That's a combination.
White.
Yeah. Well played.
It's only Thursday night, Q.
Gee whiz.
Matt White.
Well done, gentlemen.
Played for Richmond, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He did. The thing that I've been really...
Ruckman, you're all the same.
You guys only get a kick because of us. The way they use the ball there, Brisbane, just methodical and real, just clean, low on their eyes. Been so sharp tonight.
McCluggage up to 30, Neil up to 28 disposal. Big fist forward by the Big O. And Rayner picks up, dances around, the left foot is to the path of Fletcher. Inch perfect from Cam Rayner. Not only has he got the power, but he's got the poise and the skills to deliver that. Fletcher's going to have a shot from 30 out, slight angle to the left.
And Fletcher then, he started on the back side of the... So he was on the wing, but he was on the sort of more of the defensive side of the wing where his starting point was. To get inside forward 50, it's incredible running.
I had the pleasure of calling this man's debut goal. He's only got the one. And it'll stay that way.
Pricey.
He kicks it out of bounds. And I'm just giving up. Just, as Cometti said, stand me on the mark. Not a problem. It's one behind. 110 plays 38, and Zane Bojak's on the boundary.
Yeah, the Lions are telling me that it was a tactical substitution to bring on Darcy Fort, but we did see Dunkley struggle in that third quarter, so I think it's a wise move by Fagan to keep him on.
So where was it, Zano, that he was struggling?
It looked in behind the knee, up at the top of the calf.
Righto. Thank you. Chipmark, Tigers to right half back with the inbound. Ross, the latest to have it. His kick infield on the 45. Looking for Taranto, punched away by Ashcroft. Ball to be won on the wing. Ricochets around, won by Taranto. No, Graham it was. Hand passes to half forward. Clark, lovely kick infield on the left boot. Marked by Bolton right on 50. Judson Clark, I like the look of him. Young player from the Dandenong Stingrays, and that was good service for Shea Bolton.
Nice decision, wasn't it? Come back in on his non-preferred and hit a nice target, lowered his eyes. He's very confident here. He turned his back straight away as soon as he marked this 50 out.
Hasn't kicked a goal tonight. Mind you, there haven't been many kicked by Richmond. Man on the mark right on 50. Bolton Out to the right, 52 out. Boy, that's a high kick. Will drop in the goal mouth, and it's got Harris Andrews, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 knuckles all over it as he punches it through for a point. 71 the difference, 110-39.
I've got to agree with you, Q. We watched Harris Andrews play for a couple of years. He's in the same form he was in when he was made an All-Australian. Long kick to the outer wing. Bolter showing the strength, but then got pinged. He got rid of one player, and he got tackled into the ground by the second. The second one was Cam Rayner. Good luck there, even though Bolter's a big man. Cam strong. Won the free kick. The handball to the run of Kitty Coleman. Got through two tacklers too easily. That was awful. And a long kick inside 50. It was taken there by Tyler Young in defence. He comes to the back pocket to Ralph Smith. That was just... Sorry, I don't like to comment on players' efforts, but the way Kitty Coleman went through those two Richmond players there was like a knife through butter.
Ralph Smith kicks the right half back. Rioli takes the grab. Plays on and can run the members' wing. Oh, his kick is into Fletcher. I think it might have...
right in the head.
Almost knocked him on. Oh, he's okay, though. It was a smother, and now he gathers the football. Fletcher kicks in field, marked by McCluggage. Brisbane's ball forward to the wing. Lateral kick to the middle of the ground, marked by Rayner. Left foot pass in front of Cameron. In the pocket, it's sizzling Charlie Range. He puts on the dance. He's got Floston and Young busted ankles. Kicks to the centre of the ground over the head of Archie. And McIntosh is there to pick it up. Oh, a lot of sizzle, just didn't have to deliver there, Charlie, as the Tigers run it out of defence. Hand pass to Pickett, run down in the middle of the ground, got a hand pass to Revolt, hands it to Cochin. The old firm combine as Cochin chips it to Miller. On the lead and marking 45 out. He's going to go back and have a shot. No, he's got a man floating down from defence. It's Ross taking the grab, 45 out. And without much happening in front of him, Jack Ross decides to set sights on what would be his third goal of the season. Richmond back at the MCG next week against Sydney. And then they go west to play Perth. West to play the Eagles in Perth, should I say, as Ross on his right boot. Good looking kick. That's a fine finish from beyond 50. Jack Ross has a goal. At 6 for Richmond, 65 the difference. 16-14, 110 to 6-9, 39. 12 and a half played final terms, eh?
Yeah, I know that Pricey said before about that run by Kitty Coleman. One of the players that he just went straight through was Marlon Pickett, Pricey, and he literally can't lay a tackle. He's got no power in that left wrist whatsoever, and he basically played touch, and Kitty said, no, I'll just play on things.
Yeah, I was wondering what was going on there because it wasn't the body line there, and Kitty threw too easily with his pace. The official crowd here at the Gabba tonight, 30,022, if you don't mind. That's a good crowd on a Thursday night.
We just saw the replay. Dan Rioli did kick it into Jasper Fletcher's head a moment ago.
The young man bounced
did well
back.
to recover.
And Rioli was giving him the, sorry, mate.
Well, it's all happening here at the Gabba. It's happening at Lord's as well, as I think England might be strutting their way out onto the field shortly.
Yep, 4:16 for Australia.
Darcy Ford into the ruck for Brisbane against Samson Ryan, and Fort gathers and then gets tackled. He does it again. He slapped it down around the ankles. Picked up by Ashcroft, had a swing. Nicely done by the big ruckman in Samson Ryan to get down to that level, smother the ball and hold it up. So we'll have it all again in the middle. Fort versus Ryan. It was Fort who got it down to Jared Berry. Around the back of the clearance. He kicks it towards right half forward. It was downfield. He got dealt with by the young ruckman by the looks of things. He's giving it to Samson Ryan anyway. So it's going to be a free kick to the Brisbane Lions on the arc of 50. It's with Hugh McCluggage, who has his 32nd disposal. Kicks it towards the pocket and looks for Danaher on the lead. But once again, the Tigers' defence, Tyler Young this time, get in the way of Joe Danaher. He takes a mark as Joe stands the mark and gets entangled with the Tiger as he takes it in the left back pocket.
Young plays on. Long kick beyond left half back for Richmond. Marked by Cumberland. Good grab. The late in for the Flood Martin. He's kicked a turnover though. Kicking it to half forward. Devon Robertson there to mark for Brisbane. Forward of right half back. Kicks it wide for Fletcher. Fletcher grabs it. Looks infield. Chips it to Wilmot. Jasper Fletcher. Darcy Wilmot. A couple of these young names that haven't been around too long for Brisbane. Is this the sprinkle of the youth that takes them from perennial top 4 to the last game of the season, perhaps? Wilmot chips infield to Andrews. Andrews a bounce and a kick to half forward. Leap, but out the pack row by Fort, bangs it to the open goal mouth. How's the bounce? Rolling. And the fumbling attempt from Young has failed to touch the ball as it rolls through. Pending review.
What's he? Surely he's calling that a goal, Young.
Oh, we're waiting for the soft call. But poor old Young was trying to chase it. The ball hasn't gone over the line.
And
didn't go all the way over the line.
Joe's
He tap it back.
But then it's a goal from Joe Danaher because he just kicked it.
And Joe's a thinking footballer because he's actually backed up and kicked it over the line.
Yeah, so the ball's there, it's still in play, and then Joe's just gone.
Oh, so it's
bang.
Did I use that phrase? Joe Danaher's a thinking footballer.
This is a bizarre replay. Score review, not a goal. Now, I don't know the specifics of the law around does play stop if a review's been called for. So,
well, play was still continuous.
And we're assuming that's for Joe Danaher.
Well,
you just brush that through, don't you?
It's a bit of a loophole there, isn't there?
There is.
There's a bit of a loophole there because Young stopped it from being a goal from Fort. And I think, the whistle gone.
Didn't fully cross the line.
But what happens with time there? Is time still on by the time that the field and goal umpire call review?
I hear what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, in the end, Football Sense is the winner with a goal to Danaher, but I wonder had there been any more delayed reaction, whether we found a little crack in that rule that you don't want to emerge at any bigger stakes.
Well,
when we've got an 11-goal, now 12-goal game here.
Football Sense should have been rush the ball through.
Actually, very good point, Matthew Primus, and instead of missing it completely on the goal line.
Matt Primus wins argument.
I think so. End of section.
But I love looking at the replay there, reaction from the people in the first row where Joe Danaher kicked it.
Yep, they thought, good on you, Joe. You were the only one in the room, the tallest man in the room, so to speak.
No, they nearly got their heads taken off, Pricey.
He kept his head. They didn't ever kept theirs.
Yeah, they had that dark.
The throw comes from the umpire. Now Darcy Fort in the ruck. Has he taken a man down? No. He's been taken down. He's been held there by Samson Ryan. Now the umpire's going to come in and have a bit of a chat there. It's not going to go to Darcy Fort. It's going to Dev Robertson, so it was off the ball. Everybody confused. Robertson plays on. Kadeen Coleman, the long left footer, inside 50, through the hands of Bolter. It went to Vlosten behind the pack. The handball off to Judson Clark. That's a lovely kick. And found Jack Ross. He wants to play on. Off the side of his boot, it just hits Nathan Broad inside the boundary line. He's approached by Bale. He still gets the kick away. Harris Andrews versus Nankervis. Great contest. Andrews spoils it. It bounces back up into the arms of Nankervis. Andrews tackles and the umpire will come in and ball it up right in front of the grandstand commentary box.
Don't know whether Tom Lynch and Dion Prestia would have made a difference tonight. Ifs, buts and maybe. Stoppage. Baker's kick smothered. Went to Hopper. Tackled. Hand pass turned over. Stolen by Robertson of Brisbane. Kick to Danaher. Marks at 30 out. Tumbling entry. He wants to play on. Oh, he kicked it into the man on the mark. It ricochets to him. So he wants to get it to Archie. Second time of asking. He kicks it to the pocket and Archie juggles the mark. He'd kick it infield and McCluggage is the target. He wants to play on. Stolen by Baker of Richmond. Yeah, this is a bit too smart. Now Archie plies a tackle on Broad, got a hand passed away to Vlosten. Ball still in the pocket, ladies and gentlemen. Richmond's got it through the clearing kick
Archie, I reckon,
of Graham.
Archie is fake.
Graham's it's gone out of play, and there's a Brisbane Lions player down and hurt.
I reckon he's knocked himself out.
Kel Archie face first, mate. I'm not sure whether he has moved, to be honest.
So concern shown by the players, and play is stopped. Ball's over the boundary line, and the runners racing out to attend to Kel Archie.
Coming on Broad, and Broad just...
He has raised
He centred himself, but his head hit right on his bicep shoulder.
See, he went in for a tackle, and the crowd will boo.
No, the crowd's booing because they just cancelled kick to kick because of ground conditions.
Oh, right.
There's not a Taylor Swift concert here. Oh, come on. It's one of the biggest crowd at school holidays, for God's sake.
Now, interesting here, Kel Archie was going in to make a tackle, and Nathan Broad braced himself. Archie's up and walking, which is good news. On the replay, what do you think?
Broad braced himself, and Archie hit his
If anything, you
broad
could argue
shoulder.
Archie's technique wasn't great.
Yeah.
Sorry, I understand why. Sorry, the rugby league's here on Saturday night, and they've got to make sure that the surface isn't
It's
damaged.
share and share
I
alike.
understand.
Share and share alike with the Women's World Cup around.
I understand.
We've got rectangular sports coming here.
But I thought it was a crazy decision, but now I understand.
No, the leagueies won't mind if you chop it up.
A bunch of teenagers having fun for 15 minutes isn't going to kill anything. That's a decision made by grumpy old people.
Including Michael Price. Not in the decision process. Have you got people here wanting to have a kick tonight?
Yeah, I've got kids here.
Yeah,
Price,
okay,
he
thought
loves-
so.
Yeah, he loves kick to kick.
So do I.
We'll get to Zane in a moment. Archie walks to the bench and looks okay. Playback underway, edge of the centre square, Brisbane's ball. Ashcroft hand passes to Wilmot, hands it to Payne, who's been quiet tonight, hasn't had a lot to do probably. Kicks it to the wing and Cochin marks. Zano, near you, how's Kalachi look?
Yeah, he's lucid and he's talking to the doctors, which is great. What I didn't like was Daniel Rioli hitting him on the rump while he was on the ground, telling him to get up. I mean, that's not on in this game.
Oh, well, they're very close friends. Long kick inside 50. Berry. Oh, almost a good mark taken by Jared Berry. At ground level, picked up by Charlie Cameron, who's gone back to help. He kicks it to half-back Payne, and then roving at his feet was Ashcroft. The ball bounces back now to McCluggage, a little 9-9 into the path of Hipwood, who's made his way all the way back to half-back to help out. Ball spills towards the boundary line. Nathan Broad and McCluggage dance over with the agate, and we'll get a throw in, left half forward.
Charlie Cameron must be lost out there. He was in the back pocket.
Still is.
He's getting himself out there now.
He thought they changed ends.
Matt Primus and Jeff White with you. Boundary throw in left half forward for Richmond. Roved by Graham. Hand pass doesn't find a teammate. Bailey picks up for Brisbane. Hands it to Fort. Rush kick from right half back to right half forward. No one there, but Bolter has time to fumble the ball backwards and then kick across the ground towards centre half forward on the head of McIntosh. Spoiled away by Berry. The cavalry arrives, but Rioli overruns the football. Berry has it fumble off his head, but still gets a hand pass to McCarthy. Hands it on to Cameron. Hands it back to McCarthy. The Lions forwards are doing as they please. And McCarthy snaps another goal with absolutely no pressure on Link. He has 3. Margin is 77 at 18-14. 122 to 6-9, 45. 5 minutes left in this one.
I tell you what has been impressive, Wade. The last 3 or 4 minutes, Brisbane's attack on Richmond, Archie nearly knocking himself out there down the back 50. They are still going as hard as what they did in the first 5 minutes of the game, which would please Fags, as long as they don't get an injury out of it, would please him. No end.
Well, I was just going to say the forward pressure's been outstanding from Brisbane tonight. That's finals footy. You can have all you can have it all going through the midfield, but if it's rebounding outside your forward 50 as quick as it goes in, you're not going to win finals footy. And that's what's been really outstanding tonight. Even though Richmond haven't been at their peak, they had 2 or 3 numbers at that play when it was a loose ball get.
64 inside 50s to 35 in favour of the Lions, and it's telling on the scoreboard. The dominance, another clearance through the hands of Berry. Ashcroft lowers the eyes. Danaher, 45 metres out, 45-degree angle to the left. Joe will have a ping at his 5th goal.
77 points the margin already on a night where Brisbane's playing a team that has won 3 in a row. You know who's here next Saturday?
Oh, no.
West Coast.
You reckon the hunger of this lot's going to dissipate?
No.
Oh, dear. That could be a record score the way the West Coast are going, but we'll concentrate on this evening. The Lions are racking it up at the minute. Joe Danaher from 50. Lets it go. Gets 5. A big bag for Joe. 19 goals, the Lions. 14 behinds. 128. It's the Tigers 6-9, 45. And we're up to an 83-point margin game high.
Didn't you say there was only 1 goal scored from the centre bounce? So there's the second.
That was half-time, there was, Whitey.
Yeah, half-time, yeah. But, I just have to admire Will Ashcroft. His ability to spread, he's so clean below his knees. But, you're running, it's a first year. You're running through the middle. You've picked it up, loose ball get. You got pressure on your right-hand side, left foot. Lace out to Joe Danaher. Outstanding. I mean, it's just
got all the skills, hasn't he?
It's great. It's great to watch.
It's composure as well. The youngsters coming through with that composure.
Yeah.
Brisbane's greatest winning margin over Richmond is 97 points. We're at 83, but 4 minutes of playing time left. Centre bounce. Free kick to Brisbane. McCluggage was going to play on, but it's not allowed to. Ashcroft is going to take the free kick for the Lions. Chips it wide. Marked by Neil. Hand pass to McCluggage, who runs the right half forward. Hand passes out to the right half forward flank. Fletcher spears a pass inside 50. It bounces for Danaher. He decides to chip it back to attacking 50 for Neil. Neil marks 45 metres out.
It's just a spread, and I know that Richmond's not giving up a fight right now, but they're just spread. They're spreading the zone. They're working hard. They're on the 45s. They're low in their eyes. It's great footy.
The bye of last week could have been preceded with good for Richmond. If they're going to turn up next week, and tightrope race to the finals, you can't be giving up 100-point floggings. Neil, high, long, straight, rub salt in wound. 89 the difference. Lockie Neal's second.
Still got 3 minutes to go.
20 goals, 14, 134 to 6-9-45.
I think that's their 20th centre bounce win for the night, which is just enormous. And most centre bounce wins go to inside 50s. They're 20 inside 50s out of a centre bounce, and they've had 66. So they've just dominated territory battle out of that. But that is a really disappointing stat for Richmond, because it's just 3 midfielders v 3 midfielders and ruck v ruck, and they've been absolutely pantsed in that area tonight.
They've been second the ball, Richmond.
Yep.
And when they've had, and this is what has been really, really critical and important from Lions' perspective. The 1%ers, the smothers, the hand, the knock-ons. They've been relentless. They've been hungry.
They've taken 21 marks inside 50, Brisbane, and the centre clearance is 20-5. Make that 21-5 as Locke Neal takes the ball away yet again. Long kick towards left half forward, more or less to space. Floston took the chance and went out there, gathered the ball, did well. Got a handball to Bolter and gave it to Hopper just outside defensive 50. The lovely kick. Former teammate and current teammate in Taranto. Gave it off to the run of Ralph Smith. Missed the target completely. It could work out. Running in, Judson Clark picked it up. Nice snap from the young man. Gets his first goal of the evening. The Tigers get their 7th. 20 goals, 14, 134. Plays 7-9-51. We're back to that 83-point margin. 27.5 gone final term. Grandstand AFL.
Just having a look through Richmond's defeats of recent times. Of the biggies, you're going to go way back to 2017. They lost to
Port Adelaide?
No, it was Adelaide by 76 at Adelaide Oval.
Yeah.
Last one over 80 points, I think, was to GWS at Manuka, where they got beaten by 88 points, and they lost later in that season in 2016 by over 100 to the Swans. But, yeah, this is the biggest loss that Richmond has suffered during its great reign, which continues to become a memory rather than a relevant discussion point in working out just who's going to be where and why in 2023. Free kick for Brisbane in the middle of the ground as Dev Robertson chips it short. Neil has the football. 83 points the margin. Neil chips it short to Coleman.
And a lot of those uncontested footy that they're winning just then have just been...
Coleman long to full forward. Rayner flies, can't mark. Tapped away from him by Young of Richmond. Gathered by Taranto. Put it to Baker, put it to his toe, but stolen by Starcevic of Brisbane. Hands it to McKenna, 50 out. Great smother, Ralph Smith. Came across his bounce, knocked it away from him and regathered. Hand pass to Bolton. Hand pass at half back to Baker. Hand pass to the wing for Graham. Richmond running in waves here. Graham hand pass in field to Bolton. Bolton back to Graham. Graham back to Bolton. They run to half forward. Then Bolton kicks a wobbling Hoper on the head of Jack, who's outpointed pointlessly, so to speak, by Andrews, who takes the mark for Brisbane. Kick in field over the head of Robertson. He dropped what he should have taken. Taranto picks up snaps and misses to the right. It's a point, and the difference is 82, 134 to 52.
Great effort by Starcevic then. He ran 20, 30 metres to chase on Bolton then, who was going to kick the ball inside 50 just to put him off his kick.
And showed a good bit of toe in chasing him there too, Matty, as well.
Pricey.
Wilmot
Long kick towards the outer side. McCluggage the target. Why not? He's got a magnet on him. Ball spills away from him though. Picked up by by Hopper. Went around one player. Hooked around with the right foot back inside 50. Taranto there. Handball now to Judson Clark outside of the left foot. Oh, that was a flying shot from the boundary line. The young man across the face of goal. Only the one behind resulted. So it's 134 playing 53. 81-point margin.
Brisbane just chipping it around in the back line. Wilmot short to Ashcroft. So the Lions have got West Coast here next Saturday. Richmond as Sydney at the MCG. As Ashcroft in the right back pocket plays on and will kick long to a contest on the wing. Boltard juggles once, twice, can't mark. Now has to play tackler on foot and wraps it up. We'll see a ball up. And those that were hoping that the 3 wins in a row was going to lead to something good for Richmond, well, on tonight's evidence, it'll take quite something. The mini renaissance proving too small for Tigers' hopes here at the Gabba. Neal, hand pass to Ashcroft, chips it back to Fletcher. The old mates share it, gives it back to Ashcroft, chips it to Coleman. And Brisbane just running the clock down now on what will be one of their bigger wins of the season, and perhaps the turning of a page in one of the real rivalries which has defined these two teams of recent times. Kick to half forward, Danaher marks, and the siren will sound with Joe Danaher with the ball in his hands. Wouldn't this be some celebration for Lions fans if Danaher could kick his 6th after the full-time siren? The man on the mark is 50 metres out. Ladies and gentlemen, you ask for an encore on the Joe Show? He's kicked 5. The margin is 81. There's even a smile at Joe's face. Curling of the lips at the edge of the mo. Danaher on the left. He's kicked it out of bounds on the full in the left forward pocket. And we are done with Brisbane's winning margin, 81 points. What a hiding. Tigers are in real trouble after the positivity before the bye. The Lions win it 2014, 134 to 7-11-53.
We will always fight for victory, like Fitzroy and Bears of old. All for one and one for all. We will answer to the call. Go Lions, Brisbane Lions, we'll kick the winning score. You'll hear a mighty roar. We are the pride of Brisbane town. We will roll blue and gold. We will always fight for victory, like Fitzroy and Bears of old. All for one and one for all. We will answer to the call. Go Lions, Brisbane Lions, we'll kick the winning score. You'll hear a mighty roar. You'll hear a mighty
An absolute hiding at the Gabatoir. Brisbane remains unbeaten on its home deck in 2023. And the Tigers are now 6.5 wins with 8 losses. And their percentages copped a hammering tonight. They will have to do something special to make the finals in 2023. Hey, it's only one night. But it was the nature of it, Matt Primus and Jeff White, more so than just the fact that they've come to Brisbane and been beaten. Plenty of good teams have done that. But they looked powerless tonight, did the Tigers, against one of the better teams in the competition. Brisbane led by 21 at quarter time, 48 at half time, 72 at three-quarter time, and the final margin was 81 at 20 goals 14, 134 to 7-11-53. Joe Danaher kicked 5 goals for Brisbane. Lincoln McCarthy kicked 3. Jared Berry 2, Lockie Neal 2, Charlie Cameron 2, Eric Hipwood 2. Singles for Kalachi, Connor McKenna, Zach Bailey and Darcy Wilmot. Lions dining out at home. While for Richmond, 2 for Jacob Hopper. And singles to Jack Ross, Jaden Short, Dan Rioli and Noah Cumberland, along with Judson Clark. Well, Matt and Jeff, Whitey, I'll start with you. You tipped the Tigers tonight. You thought there was something in that 3 in a row coming here. By the way, teams that played last week versus teams that had the bye last week, now 9-0.
9-0, yeah. Should have listened to your cue. But I thought that might go against it, but...
Well, surely that's more than bye sloppiness and tiredness there tonight.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was 10 scoring shots to 4 in the first quarter, so that was an ominous warning from the Lions. But from the get-go, and we spoke about it all night, the way they were able to win the clearances, especially out of the centre, I was absolutely blown away by the ability to just first hands, first of the ball, the way they used the ball, the way they kept it inside their forward 50, the defensive pressure. You said they hadn't seen pain all night. Well, there's really no need, was there? It didn't really come down there, and if it did, Harris Andrews marked it, or Kitty Coleman grabbed it, and whooshka, away it went. So it was an outstanding performance from the Lions tonight, and that's what they want. That's what I know Chris Fagan quite well. That's exactly what he wants. He wants that ruthless ability to just keep on going, keep pressing. And there was parts there, I think it was probably early in the third quarter, where Richmond got a bit of a run on. And I think they kicked probably 2 in a row. I'm not 100% sure on that. But then Brisbane regained the ball back and were able to say, hey, well, chip it around, you got to defend us. And then they put on that scoreboard pressure again. So, yeah, there's going to be times when sides doesn't matter how much you're up by, there's going to be sides that get a bit of a run on. But just the ability, the leadership within that group, that's why they're a top 4 side at the moment. They're playing that way, and they're really, really playing a consistent footy that they've set up that side for a number of years now.
Yeah, just sorry, Q, you go.
Just about to say, Matt, Richmond's the story here, because we were wondering whether this was going to be a full-on revival after Damien Hardwick walked away after the Dreamtime game, but. So Sydney at home, then West Coast away, Hawthorn at home, Melbourne at home, Bulldogs at Docklands, St Kilda at Docklands, North at the MCG and Port at the Adelaide Oval. That's what Richmond's got coming in.
A good next 3 weeks relative where the ladder sits. But
Sydney...
Not based on tonight's performance.
Yeah. You're right. Sydney at home, then West Coast and Hawthorn, but...
Yeah, but
Hawks at the MCG. Who knows at the moment? That's the sort of we were waiting for Richmond tonight to tell us.
Yep.
The hunger's there, the system's there. We're going to be a part of this race to the 8 right to the end. Not on tonight's form, they're not.
No, tonight's form, and no team doesn't turn up not to play. But the mindset, they weren't ready to play a hardened game against a top 4 team away from home. That was as simple as that. People say, how do you do that? Not just by the scoreboard, by the numbers. So I know we spoke about a bit the centre bounce, but when you lose 23 of them, Whitey, regardless, I haven't even looked at the hit-outs, but you can do things where you can go man-on-man or defensive triangle, or things where you just make it hard and you have another stoppage, you put extras, whatever it is. They didn't do anything. They just kept on doing the same old thing, got beaten exactly the same way. So the mindset didn't change, and their poor old backs were just slaughtered tonight with the amount of easy ball that came in there. And so they came up here, and whatever everyone did off the bye, and the coaching staff and everyone will own it, I'm sure, but they came up here not prepared to play 4 quarters of AFL football, considering that their season was on the line. They got out of the mire the last couple of weeks and started to climb their way back up there in a bit of energy, but they gave nothing tonight, which is the most disappointing thing. And Dimmo always used to talk about the Richmond way. Well, there was no Richmond way at all tonight.
And about half a season ago when the Carrot was there, admittedly Tom Lynch was playing, among others. Carrot was there half a season ago. They got within a controversial call of winning the game, Richmond.
Yeah.
Carrot doesn't seem to be there as much.
There was.
I mean, you're in the 8 as a legitimate fight. You're fighting for your season elimination final. You can't question anything there. And when that was on the line half a season ago, we saw Richmond nearly won the game.
Yes.
But tonight, they were nowhere near it.
No, they're not going to score. They're not going to scare many of the the top teams. And based on that, I know they'll probably lift for next week against Sydney, but that showed some tired players, some players that weren't interested, all those sorts of things. And they can pick it up, but it's not sustainable to go up, and then have a game off and up. That just hasn't been the Richmond way, and you can understand a bit of where Dimmer was at, a month ago with the energy's gone out of the coach. You can see the energy's gone out of some of the players based on tonight's performance.
And Brisbane just keeping the pressure on the top two.
6% they picked up tonight, Q.
Did they? Really? Yeah. Let's get down to the Brisbane room. Zane Bojack is there watching a joyous group return. Victors yet again at their home patch, Zano.
Yeah, unbeaten at the Gabba this season. Their 11th win of the year as well, and certainly starting to mount some good scoring and some good percentage for themselves as well. Got Cam Rady in front of me, Oscar McInerney, and obviously Darcy Wilmot, who kicked that great goal just before quarter time. Wasn't that a ripper? To give them a 21 point. Here we go. We're into the song. So a very happy group. Very shortly we're going to be talking to Zach Bailey.
Good on you, Zane. We'll stay close at hand for that. Brisbane, 20 goals, 14, 134 to Richmond, 7, 11, 53. Stick around with us, by the way, because the cricket's to come for many of you on the analogue radio. If it's not where you're listening, Sport Digital's got it, or the ABC Listen app. We're at lunch, and England is none for 13. In reply to Australia's 416, the highlight of the first session of the second day. Steve Smith registering his second ton at Lords, his 32nd Test century. He was eventually out for 110. The Aussies that lost their wickets this morning, Carey for 22, Stark for 6, Lyon 7, and Hazelwood 4. Cummins remained 22 not out. Australia all out for 416. Ollie Robinson with 3 for 100. Josh Tongue with 3 for 98. And Joe Root picking up 2 wickets. So they were the predominant wicket takers for England. And England going to lunch at none for 13. Crawley 6, Duckett 7. And that deficit still quite prominent, 403 behind. Let's get back to Zane in the Brisbane rooms.
Yeah, I've got Zach Bailey here in front of me. And Zach, a couple of goals tonight. Impressive performance by you guys. Is that one of the more consistent games you've played as a team?
Yeah, absolutely. I reckon we wanted to go into the game today and win contested ball and clearance, and I think we dominated those numbers tonight. And Lockie, Will Ashcroft and Dunkley were just massive in there for us, and we were able to get territory from that and, come out on top with a good score.
We've been talking about the mini revival under Andrew McWalter for Richmond. They'd won their last 3. Did you view it as a danger game? You've been playing some good footy in recent weeks.
Yeah, it was a bit of a danger game. I think Richmond were playing for a top 8 spot, so it was a really important game to win. And, we're glad we were able to come out tonight and put in a really good performance, because it was also a really big game for us as well.
What's it like when Big Joe is taking hangers and he's kicking goals? And I know he didn't get the one at the end there, but it looked like he could do whatever he wanted to tonight.
Yeah, he's a really exciting player when he's up and about. The rest of the team is, and I think he was telling me at the end there he didn't kick that one because he didn't want his accuracy affected. So that's why he missed that one.
Well, I'm going to pass you up to the panel. We've got Quentin Hull, we've got Michael Price, we've also got Matty Primus and Jeff White.
Zach, it's Quentin here. Firstly, can you see Charlie, and he's still got all his teeth? Has he been smiling at you? What happened there?
Yeah, he has been smiling. I think he's missing the 2 of his front teeth, and he was bleeding all game. And he was trying to talk to everyone, and no one could understand what he was saying. So, and I actually think he's just had his teeth done. So that's pretty funny.
Oh wow! I'm wondering. Someone's out there mowing it at the moment. You probably should have sent a search party out there to try and find his 2 teeth.
I don't actually know if they're still intact, but he was bleeding a lot. So.
Oh, okay. What do you think the coach will say about the performance?
I think he will say it's a really impressive performance. Instead of letting the foot off the pedal, we were able to put it down and put on a good score in the end. And there were a few patches where we sort of mucked around with the ball a little bit, which he'll probably mention, and we'll go through that. But other than that, I thought it was a pretty solid performance.
Zach, Jeff White here. Surely Cam Rayners, is there a talk about him trying to win Mark of the Year? Because he dropped that one tonight, but Are you guys just geeing him up? You're trying to get him to, you're trying to get it in there as best you can for him?
Yeah, we are. I think he started playing a bit deeper, and he's such an exciting player when he starts flying for his marks. And he's nearly caught a couple over the last couple of weeks. He's just dropped a couple, but he's really exciting when he's flying for the ball and creating a contest for us.
And what I was really impressed with tonight is just your forward pressure. I mean, to win finals footy, you've been there before, you've won finals, but that forward line pressure tonight was outstanding, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. When we're on in that area, it allows our backs to set up behind the ball and really dominate that area. So when our pressure's on, we're on.
Hey, Zach, no promise here, mate. Just a bit of a left field question, but Darcy Ford, I think that's twice this year he's been the sub. But the coaches, and I don't reckon any team has a ruckman as a sub, do the coaches explain why they're having a ruckman as a sub? Is it they want to stretch the team late in the game, or there's a bit of a concern over your rucks or your tall forwards, or what's to go there?
To be honest, I'm not actually quite sure, but when he's come on, he's definitely played his role and gone and played really well. So while he's doing that, I'm sure we're happy to ruck.
Fair enough.
We're happy having a ruck as a sub.
Good ruck coaching question there, Matty Promise. It's probably coming from Cameron Bruce. Just give him a shout out there for us, Zach.
Yeah, Bruce is a funny man.
What are the things you need to work on going forward? I mean, we look at tonight, 81 points is the margin, you won pretty comfortably. So what do you think you'll learn about yourselves tonight?
Yeah, like I said before, a really good performance tonight, but there were times where we sort of mucked around with it and could have got it in a bit deeper and quicker and allow our forwards to get to work. So I think we'll go to work on that and have a look at how we could have done that a little bit better.
And prep for next week, and this is said in respect, but we are in a unique scenario but where there is a really battling team in the competition. You beat everyone here, yet West Coast come here next week. It's always a tough trip, no matter where they are in the competition. So who drives the mental prep, if anything, for next week?
I think we do. I think we're going to treat it as any other game, and we know 4 points is on the line, so we're just going to play like we do every single week. It's no different.
Okay, Zach, enjoy the win.
Right.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks for that.
Zach Bailey down in the Brisbane rooms. If anyone I'm surprised that someone's not out there looking for Charlie Cameron's two front teeth.
Yeah, if he's, we're just looking at the grounds. No, they're mowing the centre square wicket area.
Well, they're
there.
gone now if they went under that mower.
They're going to get chewed up there. That'll be an expensive little fix-up for him.
Well, I don't want to be calling the league here on Saturday and then someone comes up from a tackle saying bite marks during the the Dolphins-Broncos game, because unfortunately Charlie's teeth have emerged from a tackle.
I'm just amazed that, I mean, he didn't seem to have a mouthguard on.
He did after that.
Yes, I know he did after that,
but did he have it? Like, I noticed it afterwards.
I don't know.
But did he
what
start?
I'd like to know.
Yeah.
I was going to ask Zach there, is he a mouthguard wearer?
It's funny, he's saying that he can't understand what he's saying.
Can you imagine Charlie running
He'd be just completely numb.
Oh, dear.
Individually, here are the numbers on Brisbane's 81-point victory. 34 disposals for Hugh McCluggage, 34 disposals for Lachie Neale, both tightly contested as well. 14 contested for McCluggage, 15 contested for Neale, 10 clearances for Neale, 5 clearances for McCluggage. 27 for Ashcroft, 23 for Coleman, 22 for McKenna, 21 for Wilmot. And Dunkley with 20, he was subbed out in the end. According to the lines, he's okay. According to Zane's eye, perhaps a little bit of pain at the back of the knee. For Richmond, Noah Bolter just fell short of the David Radisha. Didn't quite get to the 800 metres gained. 773 metres gained with 24 disposals.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, you probably don't want Richmond. Probably don't want him having that many ball. But there was that much of it down there in their back 50. He certainly found a bit of it.
One inside 50, extraordinary.
He's trying to get it out of the back line, just to give his back line a bit of a rest.
Hopper 22, Ross 21, Taranto 21, Broad 21, Floston 20. Overall disposals, Brisbane 380 to Richmond's 302. Contested-wise, Brisbane won that stat by 26, 138 to 112. Clearances, Brisbane smacked them 46 to 22. Plus 24.
That's a flogging.
Yeah. Tackles, Richmond plus 10. They were chasing it 53 to 43. Inside 50s, plus 30 to Brisbane at 68 to
That's nearly
38.
Nearly 10. That's unbelievable.
What was Acker telling us last?
Over 65.
more than 65 inside
Don't
50s
lose.
has never lost an AFL
He hasn't
game.
texted in tonight, has he, Acker?
He's in Japan somewhere.
Yeah, but he should be listening, hopefully.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
You should have
disappointing,
tuned in.
Acker.
Plum wine or not.
I think he's taking selfies at the Disney World there. Surely be tuning in.
So, if you're Richmond, what do you do from here?
Hey, you just got to get to the back of the training track. You've got to look at... You've got to learn from when you play opposition like this, you've got to learn about how they actually use the ball. And the best way to learn from that is behind the goals. The ability to spread. And if you're going to compare yourself, if you're going to knock on the door of the 8 and you've got an opportunity, it's still available. You've got to look at I reckon, behind the goals and look at the way the Brisbane mids spread tonight from away from the stop plays. And just get an idea, especially that midfield group, because they have got a good midfield group. They're a great midfield group. But just the ability to spread as hard as what they did tonight.
Hindsight's 20/20, but forgive the simplicity of teams across the competition are struggling off the bye. You've got an older group who's just had a major celebration of one of their greats going into the bye.
Yep.
Up, let's celebrate. And now we've got to get going again. And great teams can be a bit like semi-trailers. Can they, momentum's one thing, but when they've got to start up again.
Is the want there? And then that's the unknown. They would have
Is the
flown up.
drive there to get the momentum again?
They would have come up here, probably had a good week on the track and good meetings and all that, but the unknown. Individually, mentally, are they prepared to come and go to battle for 4 quarters? And tonight the answer was unequivocally no. And there'll be a discussion. Yeah, there might be still some chance of making the 8, but when do they keep trying to get Tom Lynch back?
He's listed as still a couple of months away.
Like Tarrant's an indefinite. When do they close the book on that? When their season's done, and that's a few weeks down the track. But those discussions will start to come if their performances don't improve over the next 2 to 3 weeks.
But you've seen with those sides that have lost this on the back of the bye, how they've been able to quickly look what Brisbane did. They got beaten by Hawthorn. Boom, straight back in. Hey boys, so sometimes that loss is just a bit of a kick up the bum. Let's just get ourselves going. And
it is an amazing thing, that number, like the mental aspect of it, Whitey, in any sport, walk of life, business, whatever it is, family, the mental side of things is so important. And it'd be good to go back over the last few years and see if that number's as stark as it is this year with the win-loss.
Well, no, when we had the bye, we struggled big time. And that was one of the things that Neil said. He, every year, felt like we're just losing.
So the teams that are now in jeopardy this week.
What have we got?
Okay, so teams having played the week before
and
against teams that had the bye the previous week is now 9-0.
Yep.
Which means, watch out, Bulldogs v Freo.
Oof.
Watch out, North v Adelaide. Watch out, Port versus Essendon. Watch out, Carlton against Hawthorn. Watch out, Greater Western Sydney against Melbourne.
That many games, right?
Yeah, well, there was a half a dozen.
Yeah.
So the ones you listed are the ones come off the bye last week, the first ones. So GWS.
Teams that didn't play.
Yep.
Dogs didn't play. They play Freo. North didn't play. They play Adelaide in Adelaide. Port goes to Melbourne to play Essendon.
Oh.
Carlton at the MCG against Hawthorn. And Greater Western Sydney in Alice against Melbourne.
And some of those games, the ramifications, like the Melbourne Giants one, the Bulldogs Fremantle.
Well, if the Blues have got any hope whatsoever,
Blues,
they've just got to take care of business against the Hawks.
There's some big games there.
Port Adelaide's top 2 chances. I mean, and you know what it's like, Matt.
Yeah.
And which is why tonight for Brisbane is so important. You've got 2 teams, and I'm going to use tennis context here, for Port Adelaide and Brisbane in the top 4, because the other 2 in the top 4 are MCG tenants.
Yep.
Collingwood and Melbourne.
Yep.
And, okay, get your top 2, pinch 2 wins at home, go to the MCG on grand final day, give yourself a hope. But if you have a slip-up, if you don't get the top 2 for Port or Brisbane, it's going to be like playing men's tennis 10 years ago, where you might have to beat Nadal in the semis and then Federer in the final, or Venus in the semis and Serena in the final. That's why top 2 is so important in this ladder for this season, with Collingwood and Melbourne, the other 2 in the top 4, for Port and Brisbane to desperately try and get to home finals. And if they are to get to the big dance, go to the MCG.
Just the once.
Having been at home all the way through.
But didn't Brisbane finish in top 2 and went out in straight sets at some point? I'm just. They had a home
that
final.
was in 2019.
Yeah, had 2 home finals.
Lost to Richmond, lost to Greater Western Sydney.
Yep.
And well, even when they had the chance to play a grand final here, they got beaten by Geelong in the preliminary final. But I think the context of Brisbane's form at the MCG, they beat Melbourne there last year, but still it's not great. And, Port's been fantastic in every facet, Matt. But, you played footy for the club. You know what it's like. Yeah, and it's not like when you guys were in the mix. You guys played Brisbane at the MCG.
Yes, totally different.
But, that's the thing, that the great advantage that Collingwood and Melbourne have as co-tenants.
Exactly right.
There, which is part of the narrative.
Well, it's going to be an interesting round to keep an eye on, Q.
Yep.
To see